because you lost everything.
Look, man, the only thing that happened was my internet went down, at least according to everyone in the house. But this light that I have over here, it flickered. Like my screen was doing crazy shit, like the power was going out or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But nothing else.
that was
Every other
weird,
room
bro.
was fine. But we're good. We're live for now. So what's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. What's going on, brother? Obviously, today's a very special day. It's Mother's Day. It is what, May 10th, right? So it's always like the second Sunday in May.
Yeah.
Is what I'm same day. So obviously, neither of us could be with our moms. You know what I mean? Quarantine. My mom
Mm-hmm.
and my stepfather are, compromised, and my wife's getting over a cold. So you know what I mean? We had to play it as safe as possible.
Right.
Luckily, I already got my mom a gift. But what's it like, um, being away from moms during Mother's Day, bro? It's always weird, right? Especially like growing up in a single parent household, quote unquote. You know what I mean? For the most part.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, my mom divorced my stepdad when I was 13, so it's been her and us, growing up pretty much. Um, yeah, man, it's I guess it's strange, but I've been away from home for a long time. I go home when I
Yep.
can. So for me, it's
Yep.
more like the norm, kind of being away from home. I was in
Mm-hmm.
Korea for 4 straight years. I was deployed during one Mother's Day. I was in Washington State, so I don't get to see her on Mother's Day regularly. Like you guys, you and your mom, you guys are in Florida, so you could
Yep.
always drive. I'm not sure
Yep.
how far you guys live from each other, but
Mm-hmm.
it's an easier trip for you. So it's kind
Yep.
of normal for me. Unfortunately, that I say that it's normal to like not be around my mom, but that's
Yeah.
just what it is. But I got to call her. We did a WhatsApp call and we talked for a while, and um, so I mean that was nice to get to talk to her.
Yeah. I called my mom. I mean, I got her an air fryer last week. I wanted to make sure I got there on time, just because
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. Amazon Prime, Amazon is getting overwhelmed with orders, so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure she got her gift early and got it on time. And she's used it like every day, so I'm happy about that. We seeing her next weekend, and it was just, you know what I mean. It was just too many moving parts, and it sucks. You know what I mean. I think it's the first Mother's Day that I'm home since I came home from the army that I don't see her. So it's a little strange, but I mean, you know what I mean. Like it's. I guess these are like the sacrifices with the new norm. Can't risk that. Like I might be asymptomatic with the flu, and then I give it to them
Yeah.
and my mom and my stuff. You know what I mean? For them, they're older. It's gonna be a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
So because we did get a COVID-19 tested last week, and I don't think we talked about that because it was like the day after we did our podcast. Son, let me tell you, that shit hurts when they put those cotton swabs into your nasal cavity, into your brainstem. It hurts, bro. It is uncomfortable. It is pressure. Huh.
Whew.
I don't recommend it for anybody.
No,
Yeah.
I believe it. I remember doing something similar. I mean, it wasn't, but I remember it was like a combat lifesaver or a course during pre-deployment, some training, and
Right.
it was a flexible tube, and I didn't have to do it. But while we are going through the course, they asked for volunteers, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. As long as I get to put that shit down someone else's face, then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And it was a strange feeling. I'll just say that. And the
Yeah.
tube was, I don't know how long
Yeah.
it was, and they just put it down into your nasal cavity, and um, yeah, it's what can you do? You do what you got to do, right? Not
Yeah.
volunteer for it, obviously, but
The hardest.
you had to take the
No, that was
test, so
stupid. That was
you know
yeah. Well,
it.
I had to do it because of work. Because a lot of my facilities are requiring it. Working as a medical professional.
Yeah.
But it was weird. Like the whole time I'm thinking, because like I knew I had seen a video, right?
Hmm.
But what I didn't know, I knew that was gonna happen. What I didn't know was that they put it into both nostrils. I thought they only put it into one. I was like, all right, that won't be that bad.
Woo.
So
Yeah.
like the first one, because you don't know what it's gonna feel like. So they put that in there. I was like, okay, this, and the whole time I'm thinking, don't sneeze. You know what I mean? Because like they're taking like that's because like that's why you sneeze. You have like germs and shit, like, or you have some kind of dust or something in your nose, and your natural inclination is to sneeze.
Right.
So it's like, yo, if I sneeze, this fucking Q-tip
The shit will break
that's
off and
fucking
stay there.
10 inches long, yeah, it's gonna break off. Then we gotta go to the ER. Like this whole scenario played out in my head. That didn't happen, right? It's one of those things where I just like a 2 second daydream where
Yeah.
like all this shit happened. It was like the end of the world. I got fucking cotton swab in my nose and it's a wrap. But dude, it was fucking terrible. Somebody got something to say? You looking down at your phone?
Yeah, no, Mel's watching, and she said we have a joke that
Okay.
we got a ghost in the house because we hear stuff, and then we go look and there's
Oh, for
nothing
sure.
there, and so she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably the ghost that flipped the switch on the inner or on your lights because nothing else happened in any other room. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
We have we definitely have a ghost in this house.
Yeah.
Like when you come down to see my house, like I have a side of my house that like I don't give a fuck about looking like I don't like going to at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like because so my house is like almost like a quad split, right?
Yeah.
So like I have the master in the front, bedroom behind the my second bathroom, and then on the other side of the house, it's two bedrooms and a bathroom, right? But that has like a whole separate locked door. It's almost like an efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of it, efficiency that's still attached to the house type of thing. So
Okay.
at night, during the day, no noise, bro. No noise at all. Nothing, not a creak. At night, as soon as the sun starts setting, you hear like clack, clack, click. Then my wife, then Melanie goes, "Oh, that was a refrigerator." I was like, "That's the same refrigerator we've had all day, right?" Because we have two refrigerators.
Uh-huh.
That's the same refrigerator we've had in this house for 2 years. Why does it only make noise at night? Oh, it's I've never understood this. Oh, that's the house settling in. This house has been here for 25 years.
Yeah.
How long does it take to settle? Like,
I mean,
what's the
if
situation? I
you
don't
got that
understand it.
Florida sand, it's constantly
Yeah,
moving.
exactly. Yeah, it's constantly moving. Like this motherfucking house needs to relax. It's settled. It's not moving. I'm not picking this house up. It's always weird, bro.
Matt, so
But yeah, Mother's Day. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
go ahead.
Before
We're
we
getting
jump
off
off,
topic.
let's go back to the Mother's Day shit. Yeah, we always do that. Look, it's weird, right? Because my mom, like, I don't have any grandparents anymore, right? So my mom lost we lost my grandma 7 years ago. So
Mm,
that's always a tough time for her, you know what I mean? And so I always try to make sure to try to be around her. So I wanted to make sure she at least had a gift.
right.
So it's moms are the most invaluable, important person we ever have. They're our first role models. You know what I mean? They're our first role models. They're the first people that show us how to do anything. You know what I mean? For the most part.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Most of my friends, I don't think I only have one friend that both parents raised him like his entire life. You know what I mean? And it's strange when you lose a parent, and it's strange when you don't have those moments with those parents. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so I just want to, as from the Man Chatter podcast and from Ben and Jonathan Vallejo, just want to thank all mothers out there, man. You guys do an amazing job. I don't know how you guys do it sometimes, because there was days when my mom didn't have enough to feed both of us. John, you and I grew up pretty, you know what I mean, pretty similar.
Yeah.
Chris ate more, you know what I mean. Chris ate more than you. He
That's
got
why I was
he
the
got the
skinny one.
fair share. Yeah, that's why you was, and you ran. You know what I mean? Like what moms do and what moms continue to do is a gift, man. We thank you very much. There's anything anybody can ever say. You guys are the realest heroes, bro. So thank you. We love you. And I mean, I feel like that's all we needed to say, because we've already talked to our moms. It's just to other moms out there that
Yeah.
might listen to this show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're
I think you
definitely a
said it
pro
best.
mom podcast.
I would say so. Yeah. So with that being said, Happy
Imagine.
Mother's Day to everyone. Let me throw that rundown on here
Mhm.
so that this will keep Benjamin honest, so we stay on track. So we got a couple things we
Yeah.
want to talk
Uh,
about. You guys can see them on screen. Uh,
mhm.
Mother's Day, obviously the big one, big day today. Last night was another night that we were looking
Another
forward to. At some point, maybe not so much this round of fights because it changed because of
yeah.
COVID-19. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we got a couple things. Somebody's got a real strong marriage?
Yeah.
Question mark. Um,
I
talk about
can't wait to hear this
talk about
again.
my dream killers. Um,
Yeah. Part two.
part two. We
Yeah.
got some crazy dude in Florida going around the beach dressed up as a Grim Reaper, and
First of all, it's way too hot for that.
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing it. And what's going on with them cops in
No,
Georgia, man? So that's what
dude.
we're gonna hit. You let me
Yeah.
know which one we tackle first. There's no particular order.
I mean, I feel like let's go. I don't because I don't want to do. Let's break up. Let's put Dream Killers in between the Grim Reaper. Well, the Grim Reaper is a funny story too.
Okay.
Let's end it with the Georgia cops and the whole Georgia DA shit. Let's go to Strong Marriage, bro. I think the people need to hear
The people need to hear
this.
about your strong
This
marriage.
no, no, no.
Oh no,
This
it's my
isn't me,
strong
bro.
marriage.
You're,
Woo! Oh, and by the way,
yeah, this is
before we get into this, and Mel says thanks for the heads up about you and the ghost in the house, since we're planning on staying with you. So we're gonna have to find a
yeah.
hotel now. But
I know.
yeah,
We'll sage. We'll sage.
you'll
We'll
sage.
take care of that.
Okay, good. Because I
Yeah,
was
we'll
gonna get
definitely
some
stage.
holy
My wife
water
always
and
stage.
spray holy water in corners of the house.
Dude, there's been some strange, not like nothing overall strange, just weird noises.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen anything, nothing out of like the corner of my eye or anything like that. But there's been some moments where you're like, I don't know, maybe just the other side of the house just feels strange, bro. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like it's just something. It's not quite the honeymoon that we had, where I literally had a ghost in my hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't quite that, but it was something. But yeah, so tell me about this great conversation that you had um with your wife.
Let me look over. I don't know if she can hear me. Well,
Yeah.
she's watching the show anyway, so
Well,
either she hears me or she's got it on her phone. So anyway,
she was part of the conversation.
look, I
Good.
think we were she was scrolling through Facebook or something. I don't even remember what it was. It was something that she noticed that it wasn't about us, and she made a comment about some dude having a pretty face or being a pretty boy, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay. And then we started talking about some of our old pictures. Like there was a picture when I was a lot younger, or like 14, 15 years ago. So I was like 21, 20, 21. And she goes, oh yeah, I remember. It's like you used to have a nice face too. You used to be a pretty boy when I met you. I was like, oh.
Jesus.
I was like a pretty boy. I was like, come on now. She's like, do you prefer handsome? I was like, yeah, handsome is better. Come on. I was like, I was
Yeah.
like, I don't
Great.
think pretty boys have beards anyway. She's like, well, okay, so maybe you're not a pretty boy anymore, but we'll leave it at handsome. I was like, all right, so we're at handsome. And so I was okay with that. I was like, okay, cool. I'm glad that you think your husband is handsome.
Yeah.
At least that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but then
absolutely.
yeah. So she's like, where do you think I never let you do any of this crazy shit? You want to go on your mountain bike and you want to go skydiving and you bungee jumping and all this other stuff, jumping off cliffs or whatever you want to do. And I always tell hey, you got a family, you got kids. It's like the bottom line is because don't let anything happen to the face. That's all I care about. And I was
That's
like,
it.
oh, just the face.
That's
I
it.
was like, is that the only thing that's holding us together? And she just gives me like a shrug, like pretty much. So I
Basically.
thought,
Yeah,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So I thought we had a strong, loving marriage,
Yeah.
full of trust and understanding. And it turns out that I'm just another
The
piece of meat.
communication.
I'm just open
You're everything.
communication. Yeah, no, I'm just another
Yeah.
pretty face apparently, and not so pretty really anymore. I'm just kind of like just barely hanging on. So she doesn't want to lose
Yeah.
that.
You've been you've been completely objectified as a man, and
And
it's honestly very irresponsible. I mean, there's got to be more to a marriage than just being a pretty face. You know what I mean? That's absurd that you've been degraded in such a way, John.
yeah,
You should write like a memoir or a blog about it.
a blog, a blog
When my
post,
wife called me
or talk about it
a
on the
blog, my
podcast.
wife called me pretty.
My wife called
My
me
wife
pretty.
called me pretty. I'm not sure how to. That'd be a hell of a headline, bro.
Uh,
Nah, like that's funny. And dude, you were think about how different. If you ever go back and look at pictures from like 14, 15 years ago, like because you
mhm,
were full on army, all right? Because that's how you and your wife met.
yeah,
Full on army. So you were in the best shape of your life. You were young. Injuries weren't a fucking factor. You didn't give a shit about anything.
no,
Totally different person, right? There's no way you could have that same conversation with her in reverse, right? Like that conversation doesn't end the same with just like you laughing it off. If you go, hey, look, if you ever, if
no,
you, if
no.
Thank God you look the
No,
way you look.
that conversation
It
ends with me
not
getting papers being served for sure.
yeah, exactly. Like this, it's a huge fight. Like, oh, really? Is that all I am? It becomes a whole. There's a whole lot of like neck twisting and pointing and shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah, a lot of neck movements that I'm like, where is that coming from? Yeah.
exactly, it just becomes a totally different situation. It is. It's crazy. I was actually having. I guess I was actually having a similar conversation with my wife earlier. Not about that, but we're talking about like the whole. This is the whole like Adele conspiracy thing.
Uh huh.
Like people like having issues with the fact that Adele lost weight. And I
Woo.
was like, you know what I mean? It's just, have you seen that shit? Like,
I
I
see
don't
Twitter
like.
losing
I
their
have.
mind. You know, like body conscious,
I
body
don't.
positivity Twitter, whatever you want to call them.
I don't like. We have wife and I have a difference of opinion. We kind of got into it. We often do with these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have an issue with like, and I have an issue with like the Kardashians. I'm not trying to go too far into this because we have a bunch of other topics to
Because
cover
it's
for.
not on the
Like
topic list.
I
Oh, it's
have an
okay.
issue with like the Kardashians. Yeah, exactly. Like the Kardashian shit, like what they've done to change the body perspective of women, and
Mm-hmm.
because they have all the money to fund their bodies basically, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how they monetize their look, right?
Yeah.
And I get like the represent, and I go understood aside like the representation of human bodies, but like I was just coming at it from a purely medical standpoint, right? Like I was like being overweight, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
which I am, leads to a lot more medical issues. Like it's
Right.
purely, you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about as healthy. But like, oh, but representation matters. I was like 100%. No woman looks the same. No woman looks like no man and woman looks the same when you
Mm-hmm.
put them next to each other. We all have different bodies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like the screenshot of the article that she showed me was like Adele's weight loss, something like Adele's weight loss
Mm-hmm.
offended me. And I was like, that has nothing that has nothing to do with it. Like we don't know why Adele lost weight. What if Adele had a health risk? What
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I mean? What if she wants to be, you know what I mean? Like all these other underlying things where it's what you're doing, right? This is what that editor is doing is basically just judging Adele on skin deep. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
digging any deeper as to why she's having to lose weight. Look, man, nobody's. I'm dude. I've talked about on the party. I'm 6'2", 310, 315 pounds. I haven't weighed myself in a couple of days, so I don't know how much I weigh. Haven't been eating. I don't eat the greatest, so I'm never gonna be that guy like yo. But I'm also realistic to like the fact that my size hinders me from doing certain things. Like I can't make the bike jumps that other people can make. I'm realistic. You know what I mean? I'm realistic to my situation. And obviously, for women, it's 1,000 times different because they don't get judged the same. Like you have in Hollywood and like you have actors that are in their 50s and 60s still being stuntmen and sex, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
sex icons. When a woman over 40 starts becoming like a grandmother in TV and film, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
get that.
Yo, man, Philip brought up a good
I'm
point because
basically
he's watching, and he says,
no, he didn't.
fat
He
or
never been.
trim, your head is the same size. How do you do that?
Yes, it's honestly it's a. Here's what's fucked up. Philip knew me when I was in the best shape of my life.
He says he's
We
got
had
a
just
picture of you at
we were
240, by the
roommates.
way.
Yeah, son. Actually I was lighter than that when we first. I was probably almost 100 pounds ago, bro. Fuck, like two. I think out of boot camp at my best weight, I was 223, 224,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I looked sick, but my head did not change size. Like my head looked exactly like this. Like my cheeks were a little bit more sunken in,
Yeah.
but my dome, but like this is just what it is, bro.
But
What
yeah,
like
it's
there's a picture of
established,
me
right? It's well
wearing
established. That's the same head you had
yeah,
when you were what 5 years old in that picture that
more
we showed.
yeah, yeah, all head, bro. This has not changed at all. 100%. This has been, dude. There's a picture that I took with my boy Verdery, my boy Murray. Right, we were on a detail together. We were drinking at my boy Higgins' house, and I'm wearing a G Unit hat, and it's an all white hat. It looks like I'm wearing a blanket on my head because it looks like there's so much material in that hat.
Uh
It's absurd, bro. Philip knows. He was there. He took the picture,
huh.
and it was like an actual picture, like a film picture. That was
Yeah,
because it
man.
was before cell phones were like camera phones.
Yeah, man. Look, talking about this whole Adele thing, I didn't even think we were gonna talk about it. I'm gonna say right now, I body shame my
Just,
kids in person, in private.
of course,
No, and I
yeah,
no, I don't do it
yeah,
to be an asshole, right? And I don't do it because hey, look, you gotta be like this Instagram trainer who's got a
right.
18 pack. or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my Mel and I, she's like, where are you going to the? Why are you working out all the time? Who are you trying to look good for? And I joked, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
look, in case you leave me, I got to look like a lightly used BMW 3 Series instead of some beat up piece of crap Ford. So I got to stay ready. But the truth is that
I'm
I
a,
before the army, before cross country, I was always playing sports. I was always uh, just
yep.
doing something to stay fit. Man, I grew up in a Puerto Rican household with my stepdad and his mom, and like it was delicious food, but they would feed me way too much. If I didn't play sports year round, I I would have blown up for sure.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's what I
And
told
you're
my
short,
kids.
which would have been worse.
Exactly. So I would be like
Yep.
vertically challenged and then horizontally challenged.
Yep.
It wouldn't be a good look.
Yep.
But that's the thing that I tell the kids, right? Like, it's like, hey, look, you don't be overweight because then it starts to mess with your health, and then after a while, then it's not
Mm-hmm.
just your energy and then your joints and all the extra weight you got to carry, and then now you got to buy bigger size clothes, even though you're 27 and you're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be growing anymore. Like it's it just one
Yep.
thing after the other. I was like, I tell them, I was like, look, don't make fun of big people and make fun of anyone that's overweight. Some people really can't control it. They have other underlying
Yep.
issues, and that's what it is. And then Javi said, he was telling me a joke. Um, I don't know. Yeah, he told me a joke the other day about some guy went to the doctor who was you know overweight, or something
Mm.
with, I don't know if it was diabetes or overweight, and he said, I can't help it. It runs in the family. And this is an old joke, right? And the doctor's like, no, it doesn't run in
Nobody,
the family.
nobody runs in your
Nobody runs in the family. And I was like,
family.
and so I
Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, hey, I mean, the majority of us can help it. We can choose to lead a healthier
Yep.
lifestyle, to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to be that guy that would just be like, hey, I run 7 miles, 6 miles a day, so I can eat whatever the hell I want.
Yep.
But you know what? I started learning in my mid 20s when I was a recruiter. It's like you can't eat everything you want. At some point, you're putting
No.
crap in your body, and you got to take care of yourself, because what you eat is more important than all the exercise you're doing. So, a lot of people have
Uh,
issues with Adele and doing all that stuff, and losing the weight. And maybe she lost it because she just wanted to, like, what's wrong with her wanting to feel better about how she looks? Like, that extra weight couldn't be helping
exactly.
her. It's not going to affect how she sings. She's going to be a great singer, but
Exactly.
it's just, I think if it's not due to a health issue that she lost weight because she was, really sick, then good for her. Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I don't, and look, obviously, look, we're two men. You know what I mean? One, you're in way better shape than I am. You know what I mean? We're two men that will never see things the way women see things, and
Right.
how they're commercialized, and the propaganda behind it, and all that other shit. That's not at all what we can't ever discuss that realistically, because then we're giving bullshit opinions, right? Because we have
Yeah.
no information at all besides the shit we hear on the internet or shit we read. Yeah, dude, look at that hat. Yeah, it's the same
Damn.
size, bro. Look at how skinny I was, son. Look at that. That was me thin. That was a thin, thin gorgeous right there, bro.
Thank you for that, Philip.
That was that was a Nietzsche shirt, which I used to pronounce a nice.
And
It's
nice. You
A
used to
Nietzsche shirt.
pronounce nice. I
Yeah,
remember that shit.
yeah. It's actually NYC, but I'd call it a Nietzsche. But um, and my G Unit hat. I was when G Unit. I think G Unit was out, and I probably had my Sean Carter's on my feet, because Sean Carter, Jay-Z had a deal with Reebok at the time. All
Uh,
whites. They were nice. But yeah, dude. Like, I listen. That I understand the representation of it, right? But it shouldn't. You shouldn't then reverse body shame. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the media. Like, women
right.
have a totally different, again, like, you know what I mean? Like, but for the headline to be like, I'm offended, like, you shouldn't be. Like, we don't know why Adele had to lose weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you really look at, and I was talking with my wife about it, I was like, if you look at the pictures of Adele throughout the years, she's actually been consistently getting smaller. You know what I mean? Besides when she was pregnant, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, like, she was really heavy at 19 when her first album came out. But then, you know what I mean? And as she's gotten older, she's started losing more and more weight.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear, like, as a big as an overweight person, like, there's a lot of negative self talk that you do to yourself.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So you don't hear the insecurity that's going around in Adele's head for her to want to feel better about herself. Look, the weight loss might not make her feel better about herself, right? Because I've been look, there's a picture right there. Like even when I was at my lightest, I still had same insecurity, same negative self talk, and then I honestly felt more uncomfortable at a lighter weight than I do at my heavier weight, like mentally, right? Like physically, best shape of my life. Like I was running fucking 12 minute miles, crushing the shit, right? And I was still 230, 240. You know what I mean? Flying. Because some people are just gonna be built, and I could see my fucking ribs, my collarbones, and I felt more uncomfortable at that weight. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable physically at this weight, but mentally I feel in a better space. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into that shit. So like for her to be attacked when you know what I mean, she wants to feel better about herself,
Mm-hmm.
and for her to be attacked, I felt is unfair. But it, you know what I mean. But again, it goes back to what my wife was like. It's because the unrealistic expectations that the Kardashians and the IG models give to these young girls and
Yeah.
women that I can see why they have an issue with that, and I get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I understand it, but I don't know how her losing weight is offensive to some. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my wife agreed with that. Like, yeah, it's not offensive, but it's the unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. No. And
But
it's
that goes back to
go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No,
No, I was
I
just gonna say
haven't.
that goes back to your wife
Uh,
sexualizing your face. So like if you ever
sexualizing my
lose weight or
face.
get out of shape, she's leaving you. Then she sexualized your face.
Did
That's
you
what she
just
did.
did
She's like, you
just
better keep that bitch pretty.
did the show just turn into like MA17 sexualizing my face? Are we gonna have to get an approval
That
rating from some governing body right now?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad. I don't think there's any children besides your son on my
Oh shit!
as
Look,
far as
I'm getting shit from Mary Riley right now, cause I was gonna get
that's
to it, Mary. Okay, I was gonna get to it, but I needed to let Benjamin
that's
finish
his
his
mom.
point. She says you assholes are always judging us. That's what she said. I was gonna mention the comment, but I
Yeah,
wanted you to finish your
a
point.
woman wrote that article though.
Well, that's what I
A
want.
woman wrote that
That's
article.
yeah. That's why I wanted to let you finish your point. How you were essentially
Yeah,
agreeing with what she's
yeah,
saying, even though agreeing with the fact that yeah, people are objectifying women, and but she wanted to call
yes,
us assholes or men in general anyway. So there you go, Mary. Not ignoring you. Um,
not at all.
no, but so one last thing I have to say because I'm all the whole body positivity movement. I get it, because there's a lot of bullying with people that are over or underweight, one or the other. It's not just
Right,
mostly overweight, but
absolutely.
other people that are really skinny. Um,
Hmm.
but I see a problem with that where we want to say, oh, just let them be comfortable with their body, let them be comfortable. I'm like, look, you don't have to look like like the Kardashians or like these Instagram models, male or female, but lead a healthy lifestyle. Go out and try to eat
Be
right,
active.
try to exercise and be active. Don't just
Yeah,
like just lay there and not do a damn thing and just say I love my body. That's not healthy. That's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for your family members. It's just not really healthy for anyone. It might be good for your mental space, but like if you're not doing anything, like not to try to look like the Kardashians, but just to be active and lead
right.
a healthy lifestyle, I think that's a problem. That's an issue, and that's what I try to tell my kids. I'm like, look, you don't have to look like this guy or the other guy. I'm not lifting because I'm trying to look like a specific body type or someone that I
Right.
look up to or idolize. No, I just do it because that's who I've been. I try to stay healthy. I like to do active things and run, and for that you need to be healthy, and especially when Javi was, I want to be around for my kids. I want to be around for and if they decide
Yeah,
to have kids, I want to be around for my grandkids, and I want to be able to chase them and run around just like I did when Tony and Javi were small. I want to be able to do all that stuff.
yeah.
And
Your body as you get older has enough issues that it's gonna have normally.
right,
You don't want to then compound that with you know what I mean, a sedentary lifestyle where you're
right,
just complacent and stuff like that. Like, look, I get it. You know what I mean? I eat. Look, I'm very honest about I eat like shit, right? Like, I try to somehow balance that out with riding my bike, being active, working out, which I can't do as much anymore when I hurt my arm.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So that's like when I try to walk my dog. I try to walk my dog like 3 miles, 4 miles a day. 'Cause that's basically what it is to like the mailbox and a lap before you get to my property.
right,
I mean, just try to do things like that. Like, it's like I get you with the whole like body positivity thing, right? Like I understand being positive. I understand because but the thing is, body positivity is a mindset, right? Like it's not. like you could feel comfortable, but it doesn't have to then be, because you could be as positive minded as you want, but being overweight still causes issues. Like it causes issues for me. Like I have my blood pressure is slightly elevated. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It run like joke that you said, like with like that how you said it runs in my family. I have a history of high blood pressure and strokes and shit like that. I mean, being heavier leads me, you know what I mean, puts me at a higher risk. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then there's a bunch of, again, all these are purely medical reasons. It's not a perspective on how you should look or feel about yourself. These are just medical truths. And yes, there are underweight people. There are people who are lighter and work out all the time that still get kidney stones, still have hypertension, still die of heart attacks, uh still have strokes, still break bones. All that is true.
Yeah.
But the percentages lie and the stats go that the heavier you are, the more issues you're gonna have. That's it.
Right.
That's it. I didn't understand. I thought it would be like applauded. Not that she lost weight, that like that, you know what I mean? She's going through a divorce. It's a challenging time. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? She's trying to do things that make her feel better. And I mean, what relieves more stress besides working out, bro? Like, you know what I mean? When I imagine divorce, and I think she has to give her ex husband like half of her money
Jesus.
because they didn't have a prenup. You know, which he did nothing fucking for, which is a whole nother set of bullshit.
Yeah.
Um, and he gets half, and I mean that's got to be super stressful. Imagine if you're going through that shit. Imagine you're worth 400 million, right? And your wife does nothing, right? Like not Mel, just put her out, completely different
Yeah. In
situation,
general. Yeah.
and
Right.
then she gets to take, yeah, she gets to take half, and of course you're gonna be in the fucking gym. I'd be in the gym every second of every day to like not kill this bitch that's about to take half
Right.
because she just feels like, you know what I mean, male or female, who gives a fuck? Like that's crazy. I'd be in the gym, fucking, I'd be squatting the entire gym, the entire fuck. I'd lift the whole building up, like yo, fuck this shit. So,
Yeah.
but that's crazy.
I think we covered what is going on. Look, somebody's been day drinking. So Mary well, Philip says, "Do you think the military gives you a better or skewed perspective on the subject, on this subject?" Uh, I think, I mean, you have to
I mean,
meet certain
I never
weight
fit into
standards in the
those numbers.
military.
I never fit them. Like I was always BMI. Like I was
You
always
always did the
under
tape.
up until the end when I was like I'm getting out. Yeah, I always had to get taped because I was like I'm 6'2", so I had to be like 198. So I've never touched 200. I don't remember the last like then like the lightest I was
Mm-hmm.
217 like 3 weeks before, because AIT was, because it was all one station. Like
Mm-hmm.
AIT, I think it was like 3 weeks before I left AIT.
Yeah.
On my way to Hawaii, it was like 217, the lightest I ever was. So that's, you know what I mean, or that I've been. So even then, I'm 20 pounds over, so I had to get taped forever. But I was still passing every. I never failed the PT test that I actually took. Was like I did do. I did have profiles and permanent. I did have a permanent profile towards the end
Mm-hmm.
because of my knee was fucked. But
Right.
you know what I mean. Like it doesn't give me a skewed perspective. Like it also what it does honestly as far as the military, it shows that my body can do more than I thought it could. That's, you know what I mean, because you're pushed to these levels that, because you're always pushed, even working out alone, right? You're pushed to your comfort zone.
Right.
When you're running at somebody else's pace, or when you're running in a group and you're pushed at somebody else's, which might be higher than yours, that pushes you. That's why like working out with a partner is always better than working out by yourself, because you're gonna stop yourself when you're tired. Yeah, I mean that's it. Even though regardless of this music in my ear, I'm good.
Yeah.
Somebody else is like, nah, bitch, we got more. Let's go.
It's a psychological thing, but it
That's,
works. It's proven. That's why a
yeah,
lot of these athletes train together. A lot of elite runners run together, because
yep.
you're forced to kind of push that pace, and then you realize that your body can do a lot more than you thought it could. But when you're on your own,
Dude,
I mean, some
The
people
Rock.
do it better when they're by themselves, but usually when you have someone to push you, especially when you're training with someone that you think has more skills than you, or is better, or is more athletic, or whatever, then you're able to push past
Mhm.
your perceived limits. So it's a
Yep.
real thing. Yeah.
And you gotta think about it, right? Like the people with the best athletes of all time, Jordan, LeBron, Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, all had people pushing them in the pool and trainers. None of these people did it on their own. Not a
Yeah.
single athlete. Michael Jordan, if without Tim Grover pushing him to put on muscle, Which, by the way, we're gonna. This wasn't in the rundown, but I want to talk about this Jordan shit real quick after this,
Okay.
and then we'll go into like UFC 249. I don't want to go in
Okay.
it too long. I just want to
Okay. I haven't seen
send my
any of
shit
the
on Jordan.
episodes, so yeah.
No, no, but it's just overall like it's
Hmm.
like if Jordan doesn't have Tim Grover to push him to hey man, you need to put on weight to be able to beat the Pistons. You know what I mean? Like everybody gets challenged. Everything.
Yeah.
Everybody. Like it's not. You should never look at like a personal trainer or somebody to work out with as somebody who's challenging your manhood or your femininity. You know what I mean? If you're pushing yourself to get into shape, you're realizing that the best athletes in the planet have somebody helping them.
They
So
do.
it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't ever think you have to do it alone. You know what I mean? Oh, that's it. I think that wraps up the Adele thing
Okay.
and the whole body image.
Yeah. Let's
I
not
think we're
become
good.
Wally. That's all.
Dude, that movie's so sad, bro. I've only watched that movie once, and that's all I can watch it. Like I don't like the commentary. Like even when I watched it, I was like, oh my god, the commentary back then was spot on. But like now, where we could buy everything we need from our phones, from Postmates to Instacart to
Yeah.
Amazon. Like you never have to leave your house. You never have to look. You never have to look up from your phone.
No.
Oh, real
So
quick, what I want to say about the
Jordan.
Jordan shit, because it'll lead us in my bad into UFC 249 because of athletes and shit.
Hmm.
Is that I I don't know how to say this, bro, because he's so romanticized. And whoever's watching this one will be like, oh, you're a fucking moron. I don't care. I don't think Jordan gets enough. I don't want to say blame, but fucking, I'm gonna say like I don't think he gets enough blame or the responsibility put upon him for the NBA that we have today,
Hmm.
because it's because of Jordan and the quote unquote Jordan rules and the wanting of more offense that the NBA did to protect Jordan, which is
Right.
why we have such a soft NBA. Like I always hate when like older players that played in that era were like, oh, the soft NBA we have now. Motherfucker, number 23 is the reason why. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like, Jordan, the Detroit Pistons had a game plan to foul the shit out of Jordan, which is the only way they could beat him. And then the NBA instilled rules to protect Jordan from those fouls. There was no flagrant fouls. Like, you got punched in the face. It was just that, like, you might get a technical, or it was just a personal foul, and then move on. Like, what are we talking about here? But the documentary is sick though. You should definitely watch it.
Yeah. I'll watch it, but and I mentioned this to you before. I don't know if anyone else has watched this or is watching it. You got to anything you watch, take it with a grain of salt. But this documentary, especially because Jordan had input. I don't know if he was a producer, but I was reading an
Yeah.
article that he had input. Essentially,
I was
what
actually,
he wanted or didn't want to be included in that documentary. So it's not even a real documentary when someone is making something about you, but you're giving the green light or the red light on what you want included
yeah,
in that thing.
yeah.
So it's another
Jordan,
great Jordan romanticizing piece. Painting him in the
yep,
best light as possible. You're not gonna hear. I'm
yep.
sure you'll hear some bad stuff. They have to mix it up, but it's not going to be completely objective. So I mean, when Jordan is
I
saying
don't,
you're
I
making a
don't
movie about me and I'm gonna tell you what you can film or what you can show, it kind of
exactly.
defeats the purpose.
I don't think there's been another superstar, and I can't think of one, right? That's been more protected by the media than Michael Jordan. Like that's never been questioned. Like I'm trying to think of like ESPN first takes and think, you know what I mean? Like and those type of debate shows where like they really go in on Jordan. Like it'll always be like a throwaway line,
Hmm.
like oh my, he's the greatest winner of all time. He didn't win until he had Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and then Dennis Rodman, and you could put a bunch of other role players in there. Like people act like he just did all these things on his own.
Hmm.
Like there's no way Michael Jordan carries the 2003 Cavs that made it to the finals that got swept by the Spurs. There's no way he carries that team to
Yeah.
the NBA finals, right? Like he scored 60 but they got swept. You know what I mean? Like there's this whole thing where like it like I'm not questioning that Jordan's a GOAT and he threw the NBA into the number 1 or number 2 league. That's all, but there's also this other side to it where like they never really like you don't know realistically you don't know much about Jordan. Like I remember I watched like a Jordan documentary back in the day. Like it was right before Space Jam came out. Like they showed a little bit of his family with his first wife.
Hmm.
He's like throwing the ball and playing golf. But even that is all, you know what I mean? All to make Jordan look in the best possible light. And the only thing I knew before this whole documentary came out was that he was worried how he was gonna look because he's been so protected.
Yep.
Like the one time you got to see behind the curtain was his Hall of Fame speech, where he's still a petty bitch, going off on like his junior high school coach that cut him. Hey,
Yeah.
bro, you're the greatest basketball player of all time. Let's let some shit go,
Let it
right?
go.
Oh, but
Yeah.
that's what makes him who he is. No, bro, no, it
That killer
doesn't though. It
instinct.
makes him look stupid and petty. Yeah, what's that junior high school coach gonna do now? Not be in the crowd? The fuck out of here, bro.
Hey, we
I don't know.
gotta
It's just weird.
before we move on to 249. Humberto de Leon saying what's
What we got?
up. Hola primo,
Oh,
saludos.
primo. Hola, primo. ¿Cómo estás? La próxima semana, little Spanish for you English fucks. La próxima semana vamos a hacer un podcast en español con mi mamá y tal vez con Josué Díaz. Ok, por favor, en estreno el domingo que viene.
¿Con quién?
No diga that.
Con
Con
Josué.
mi mamá y Josué.
¿Quién es
Josué,
Josué?
that's Josh in
I know.
Spanish.
I
Tú
know.
sabes quién es Josué,
No, yo
como
sé quién es
mierda.
Josué, yo hablo español.
Me odio cuando empiezo a hablar mucho español. Sueno más cubano que cubano. Qué pena.
Oh, shit.
But
Hey,
yeah, I don't know.
Mary was. That's funny because she was saying, "Oh damn, I got out of this." But her last comment was, I said that she said she was being. Why were we ignoring her? I gave her her due, her props, and I guess we went too long without talking to her or about her, recognizing her comments. So she said
She cussed you out.
she feels
She
ignored
cussed you out.
as a 50-year-old woman. And then I said nothing, and then I didn't say anything to that. And so since obviously we were ignoring her again because I didn't make any acknowledgement of that comment, she said boobs
Comment.
rock because you know we're
Yeah.
guys. So if we see boobs anywhere, we're gonna be like, let me acknowledge that right now. So
Boobs rock. That's funny.
boobs
She's a
rock.
trip, man. Oh, she's
Um,
a fucking trip, bro. Phillips, she's awesome, man. Phillips' mom.
so
But yeah, dude. Good.
UFC 249.
Let's do it. Yeah, throw it up there. We're in it now.
Yeah, we are.
We're in it now. All right. So now do you want to start this from the top down? Because realistically, we're gonna spend the most time on those two title fights, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really start watching. You said something. I was like, oh, it was 8 o'clock, and you said something about these fights are
Yeah.
weird. And I was in the living room with Mel, and I was like, wait, what?
The judges, yeah, the judges were
I was like,
terrible.
this started already?
True.
So I didn't catch
Yeah.
much of the prelims.
It was, dude. They did an hour and a half. I want to say, or maybe of just the announcers talking,
Mm-hmm.
like Rogan, DC, and right. So here's what. So like I'm before I even knew I was watching, because I was watching other shit. I was watching, I think it's like Psych or some shit. Um, because I kept fast forwarding, like, oh, they're still talking. It was weird because like the coming out of UFC 249, like on ESPN, where like, oh, Rogan does in ring interviews in octagon interviews when the original plan was to do this. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, bro. Like, listen, you can't. This is, I don't know. This is weird. Like, you can't criticize when you're ESPN that he's doing in ring interviews when you knew what, because the plan was for him to do like outside the cage and do like a like
Headset
a
stuff.
headset
Yeah.
thing or whatever. Yeah, what the fuck Rogan wants, bro. He's the voice of MMA. You know what I mean? Let's settle down. Everybody's got tested. They took once as a company you decided you're putting this shit on, because it's not just, it's ESPN, all the people at ESPN, all the people in charge there. Once you decided as a company, you can't then complain about it after the fact, right? Like that's like, as a company, I'm cool with like Luke Thomas doing it because he's not part of ESPN, he's part of Showtime,
Mm-hmm.
and he does, so he has, once your bosses are like, yo man, this is what we doing, then like that was like the first article I saw. I was like, why the fuck is this even an issue? Like that's what he's always done for the last 25 years or whatever it is. Why are we complaining about that? Let's just move on. But the judges were terrible. I thought that Carla Esparza, Michelle Watterson decision was absolutely insane. Like, she didn't, you know what I mean? And there was another fight that shouldn't have, that I can't remember. Like, there was like 30-27 that we talked about.
Yeah.
I can't remember the fight it was though.
Which fight was that? Was that? Okay, I remember the Sparsa fight. I think that's when I started watching. Uh,
Yeah.
damn,
It wasn't,
was it the Pettis?
was it the Cowboy Pettis? Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's,
was
it
the
has to
Cowboy
be.
Pettis fight.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think because we thought it was like should have been like 29-28, but they called it 30-27 across the board or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't nobody was a clear winner. Whatever. I'm good with like draws in those kind of fights, but they don't give out draws as much as they should. Like I'm good with just because there was nobody made significant damage. Nobody really got rocked. You know what I mean? So I don't know,
Yeah, and I
but
mean,
it was
it
weird.
could
It
have
was
to be 30. It was, I think it was 30-27 across the board, all three
yeah,
judges. I was like, no. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
not one of those rounds
No
that
way.
went to Cowboy. There was no, yeah.
Yeah,
It was strange. So they were, the judges weren't on their game, which has been an issue I
no,
think as of late.
yeah. It was weird. Like overall, like just the whole event was like it was nice to see combat sports and sports a
Hmm.
live sport event for the first time in 2 months. But it was also weird, like with no crowd, you hear absolutely everything. You hear so like that part was cool about it, but it was also weird. Like you really hear how hard these people hit each other. Like I'm thinking all these punches knocks all of us out. Like every single person watching that fight that's not a fighter probably gets knocked out. Like
Oh yeah,
so you had that fight, and then you had Calvin Cater winning the fight. We'll just run through these. So we're gonna spend the most time on the title fights. Calvin Cater winning the fight.
yeah,
Francis Ngannou uh killing Rosenstrike in 20 seconds. Like, did you see how Dan Miragliotta was like holding his head?
yeah.
Like, I've never seen a referee do that where he's like, "Yo, hold on, don't move, I got you." Like he's holding, like he's cradling him like a little baby bird that just fell out the nest. Like he's just holding his head in his hands. Oh, it's
20 seconds.
what he does to people is yeah, what he does to people is terrifying, bro.
Rosenstruck though, I mean,
Terror.
I've seen that dude. What's funny is that both of those guys, Ngannou and Rosenstruck, they both destroyed Overeem, right? Ngannou lifted Overeem up
Yeah,
off the canvas, and Rosenstruck split his upper lip. That was disgusting. I don't know if you saw what it ended up looking like.
yeah,
And
I
he's got
remember.
some
Yep.
nasty power too, but it doesn't compare. Ngannou, even though he's not polished, he's just a lot quicker to the punch.
Yep.
Rosenstruck looked like he was,
But a little bit better technique. A little
yeah,
bit better technique. That's all it is.
yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? Rosenstruck what?
No, yeah, no. Rosenstruck, he just looked like he was a bit too slow, and then Ngannou didn't. Once that fight started, Ngannou just bull rushed him. It wasn't Rosenstruck looked
Mhm.
like he was about to start trading with him, and I think that took place for about all of 2 or 3 seconds, and then Ngannou just started rushing forward, and Rosenstruck he didn't know what to do,
Mhm.
and Ngannou threw. I mean, his shots weren't. There was no accuracy, right? They were wide, kind of wide shots, and he just happened to catch him with one left, and that's all it took. That one left,
Mhm.
and it didn't even seem like it was right on the button or that solid. It almost seemed like a glancing shot, but the dude hit so hard that that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
yeah,
Terrifying. And then so that was it. And then the Greg Hardy, Jurgen Castro, Greg Hardy 11. Moving on. Don't
yeah,
don't really care.
yeah.
Um so I'm gonna let you handle the entirety of the Cejudo Dominic Cruz fight
Uh huh.
because I didn't watch a second of that because I had terrible internet signal. So tell me about this fight, bro.
Well, look, Cruz looked. He does his little funky foot movement that he's known for. He's unorthodox. I
Hmm.
think he does like a figure eight. He's constantly moving, so he's never coming down the center line. He looked fresh. He looked good. Cejudo was chopping at his lead leg, um,
Hmm.
but Cruz never looked like he was in trouble. He exchanged. He made some adjustments in the second round, and I thought he was winning that second round. He came back. He would go in and out with 3, 4 shot combinations, and I thought Cruz was it was gonna be a competitive fight because I know for sure. I mean, I thought Cejudo won the fight. He's the champion, and so I thought he won that first round. Second round, I thought that it could have gone either way, but Cruz probably was taking that second round. And when you hear that 10-second warning go off, um, Cejudo, I think he threw a right. Cruz ducked underneath it, and I don't know if he was going for like a single leg, and Man, it was nasty. Like his lights were not completely out because he was trying to defend himself, but he ducked under that right, and then as he went for the legs, Cejudo brought that right knee right onto his jaw, and yeah, solid contact. He fell on his ass towards the cage, and Cejudo didn't waste a minute. He rushed him, threw one good right that connected again, and probably like 7 or 8 more shots, and I was upset because they stopped the fight. Like one, your referee, there's 10 seconds left, and they stopped the fight with 2 seconds left in the round because it's got it at 4:58 of the second round. Um, and Cruz was not really defending himself, but he was adjusting. He was moving in the cage. He had his arms down, pushing himself up, and as he was pushing himself up, the referee stepped in and stopped it. And I get fighter safety. I get all that, but he was not taking any shots. Out of the 7 or 8 shots that Cejudo took, that Cejudo, threw, he may have landed 3 glancing shots. It was just that initial knee that kind of dazed him. It is what it is. Whatever. I mean, it's. I think it's a bad stoppage because I'm a fan of Dominic Cruz, and it looked like he was getting himself back up. But at the same time, whatever. Fighter safety is fighter safety, so you can't really blame the referee. But when you gotta have that situational awareness, I think as a referee, when you know that it was a 10-second warning and it's gonna be over and the guy's getting up, like it's he could have let it go. But that wasn't even the big thing of the show, right? You're on mute. You pulled the John.
I think if it's a different fighter, there we go. I think if it's a different fighter or a different referee, probably like Herb Dean or Dag McDorada, you let that fight go, right?
Yeah.
Like you let that fight go the last 2 seconds because you recognize the fighter. But look, you don't. You also as a fighter don't put yourself. I guess don't put yourself in a situation where you leave it in the referee's hands.
Yeah.
I mean, you got caught. It's you don't know how many. It's not the referee's call to see how many punches are actually landing. It's, he makes the decision in that moment. And look, I'm a Cruz fan. Like I like Cruz over Cejudo,
Yeah.
but I also respect Cejudo's greatness, bro. Like the man's been a champion at every level he's ever been in,
Since he's 11.
multiple times.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So it's a whole different animal, right? It was funny, like getting like because you're sending me voice clips, like getting like your reactions. He's like, bro, he fucking stopped the fight. There was 1 second left. Next one, like, you know what? It was a bad stoppage. One after that, no, it wasn't a bad stoppage. Okay, you kind of see how he did it. Then the last one, I think it was like 4-0.
Now
Then
like
the
calm
last one was
down.
like, hey, you know what? Yeah, now that I've calmed down, it wasn't that bad of a stoppage. He took a couple shots. I just it's because I like Dominic Cruz. I was like, all right, man, I got it. And I couldn't even like respond to the first one because they were like,
It was rapid fire.
I was like, how the fuck? Yeah, I was like, how did you calm down in 32 seconds? It was like each clip was like 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 12 seconds. Like, all right, this was a roller coaster of emotions.
It was
But
yeah, but you
yeah,
were my
dude, and then right after
psychologist.
that, yeah, and then right after that, bro, Cejudo retired. Cejudo retired.
That's
I
the
was
big
like, what
news.
the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like that was Cejudo is 33 years old. He gave the speech yesterday in the octagon. He's 33. He's been wrestling since he was 4. Olympic champion, national champion, champion at every two-weight champion in the UFC. I mean, I don't think there's anything else for him to do really, right? Like you have all these other fighters calling him out, all these 135ers, but he's reached the mountaintop, bro. There's nothing you go out like I really hope he stays retired and he finds a way to make a shit ton of money. You know what I mean? And just relax and do whatever he wants to do because you've reached the mountaintop. I don't like it when fighters hang on too long, right?
Yeah.
Like or anybody, any athlete. I like it when they leave on top, like Jordan with the fucking step back on Brian Russell. You know what I mean? I'm good
Yeah,
with that.
that's a
I
perfect
didn't
image.
like seeing Jordan. I didn't like seeing Jordan at the fucking with the Wizards. Like that's not something I want to ever picture. You know what I mean? I prefer the Jordan with the Byron Russell. Like I'm good with him walking off and just doing it that way. I'm cool with that. I think Dominic Cruz should do the same thing because Dominic Cruz I don't think should get another title shot. Like I think I mean you got Peter Yan, you got Corey Sandhagen, that's a monster. You got
Corey
Aljamain Sterling.
Sandhagen is shit.
You got a bunch of 135ers that are monsters. I'm good with just let these young guns do it now, man. Just leave it to somebody else, somebody else become a star. Dominic is a phenomenal commentator. I'm looking forward to his commentating on future fights. I'm good with him Dude, he's 37. He's older than both of us, and he's had more injuries than me, you, and 10 other people combined in the last 5, 6, 7 years. So it's like, what else is there to prove, bro? He's one of the greatest of all time 135ers. He's beaten everybody except uh, Cody Garbrandt and Nasuhudo. We're
Right.
good, bro. We're good.
Yeah.
Just hang it up.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty much. I think that's what this fight was part of that, right? Or all those injuries make you think as a fan and as a fighter what could have been. And but at this point, you're
Yep.
36, 37. I mean, you've done it. You've done it all. You've done it all. You've beaten everyone that there was to beat. Anyone that was thought to be a great fighter, you fought him and beat him. Like, what else do you have to prove? If
Yep.
you lose to Cejudo, you lose to Cejudo, but you're 36, and he's right in the middle of his prime, and you're coming off 3.5 year layoff and multiple injuries and surgeries. There's nothing to prove. But that's us speaking from having seen him. But him being the competitor and the fighter, you're always gonna have
Yep.
something to prove. So I get that mentality, but look, man, he didn't look bad. He didn't look bad. He was not. Cejudo was quick. You could tell, but he wasn't. You got to watch the fight. He looked like he belonged there, and just like anyone during
No.
any time, you can get caught, no matter whether you're 36 or 26, and he just happened to get caught
Yep.
that one time, and shit, it happens. So there's
Yeah.
nothing for him to prove, but I think he still has. I think he can still fight. Hell, I think he could still be a champion, but but you can't. There's too many young guys there that you can't just give him another title shot right away, right? So he would have to fight
Right.
someone else and earn his way back, and you can't do that with the amount of talent that there is, and you can't do that to those other fighters. I think Cruz, he's earned his spot as one of the greatest, and he move on. He's a great commentator.
Yeah. And I look again like two people talking shit. You know what I mean? Like we're fans of it. We're fans of him. But it's that aspect of where like if he would have been champ, then great. But then that last time he was champ, he had to relinquish his title like anyway after he fought TJ because of multiple knee injuries. Like
Right.
your injuries are stacking up, your body's breaking down. Like mentally, you're sharp as a motherfucker, bro. Like there's no drop off with Dominic at all. He's
No.
still, you know what I mean. Mentally, it that's what we're saying is like that I guess that's what sucks though, right? Like imagine being the best fighter in your weight class, but your body's betraying you when your mind goes, "Let's fucking go, bro. Let's
Yeah.
go right now." But your body's like, "Nah, knee, nope, Achilles, nope,
Shoulder.
foot,
Yeah.
no shoulder, nope, no this, no that, no hand, no this, no." You know what I mean? All these other things, like that's got to be the most frustrating thing. Which is probably why he's so pissed about that fight. Like, dude, I've overcome all these injuries, and you stop this fight 2 seconds into the second round when
Right.
he's, you know what I mean, trying to get to a decision because he's not going to stop him. You know what I mean? Cruz isn't that guy, but bro, it sucks that it ends that way. It possibly ends that way for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he maybe never fights again because he probably comes out with a couple of injuries just because it's what his body's done. But it sucks because of what his mind is saying like, yo, I could still do this. I could
I
still
think he
do
will
this,
fight again.
which is probably what keeps him going. You know what I mean? Like wanting another chance. I'm sure he'll try to fight again, but his body has other plans, bro,
Yeah, but I think he'll try
and
to.
that's
I
the
mean,
frustrating.
Cejudo's retiring, and if he does retire, that opens the door to other fighters out there, and maybe
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Cruz as well. So like it's that thing. It almost like it leaves the window open for him to try and fight, the next whoever the next it guy is at that weight class, so for him to prove that he's
I
still
don't know.
the guy to beat. Yeah.
Peter Yan is a monster, bro. That Russian guy that destroyed Uriah Faber
Uh huh.
is terrifying, bro. Like I couldn't see him. Aljamain Sterling is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just too much there. But let's get to it, man. 155 interim lightweight title. Justin Gaethje. By the way, if you haven't watched these fights, sorry, we should have probably said spoiler alert
Spoiler
way
alert:
earlier than this.
Gaethje won.
But spoiler alert now. Gaethje won,
Oops,
bro.
did I not give you
We
enough
watched that
time?
fight. I don't think you're supposed to say spoiler alert and then immediately spoil. I feel like there
Well,
should have been like a countdown. Like I feel like spoiler alert in 3, 2. Gaethje won.
well, you said it
But
before I did, so.
how so we watched that fight. Shout out to you for the WhatsApp. So we watched that fight together, right?
Yeah.
I could not like we were talking about it. I could not believe what I was seeing. Like, and I've seen Gaethje fight in almost every single one of his fights.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the motherfucker was tough. I thought he has hell of knockout power because he's knocked out almost everybody he's fought. He's either gotten knocked out or he's knocked out.
Right.
Two losses are to Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez, both knockouts in the middle of the octagon. You know what I mean?
Every
Because that's
fucking
what he
round
does.
too.
Stand and bang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happens, right? So those are his two losses. Now he's 23-2. Two losses by knockout. His last 7 of his last 9 fights, he's gotten performance of the night,
Mm-hmm.
or it's again, they've all gone no judges' decisions. Knockout or getting knocked out. So now watching, I was like, okay. But I was like, yeah, but Tony Ferguson's just a different monster. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's what all we talked about.
That's
Tony
all we've been
Ferguson's
talking
just a
about.
different monster. He has a different mindset. He has his different cardio. Like we acknowledged that Gaethje was a monster, and he's, you know what I mean. Could be he was a world champion in his previous organization, and all that stuff. I was like, but Tony Ferguson, we had it skewed. Hindsight being what it is, we had it so skewed because we wanted to see Tony and Khabib, right? We wanted to see, but that we wanted to see Tony and Khabib on the ground because, like,
Absolutely.
oh, finally Tony Khabib's gonna have somebody fighting him off on the ground and trying to choke him out. Tony did not look ready for this stand up game, bro. Like he just Gaethje had so much more power in every single one of his punches than what Tony did, and kept that pace up where he threw everything with everything. Like his jabs were were bucking Tony. His hooks, his overhands, his body shots, everything seemed to be hurting Tony so much more than Tony hurting Gaethje.
No. Yeah. Absolutely. It was. I was stunned, man, because
Yep.
going into that fight, one we acknowledged that it was a scary fight for Tony because if he loses that fight, we may never see the Habib fight, right? And
Uh,
but you know, like I've seen Tony fight. He was on a crazy 12 fight streak, and he's looked
yep.
out of this world. I mean, the dude looked on. When he fought Pettis, he was in trouble a couple times, but you know Tony, that's what he's known as, his Kukui and his escapes, and he was able to get out of the trouble and win that fight. And that first round, Gaethje was swinging for the fences, man. Like that, every shot he threw was a knockout shot. Like even his jabs
Yep.
felt like he was just trying to take his head off. And his coaches had to tell him, "Hey," his trainers had to tell him, "You need to take something off these punches." And when it got to the second round, he looked like he was starting to slow down a little bit, and Tony looked like he was going to
Yeah,
start to
we
pick
talked
up. Remember
about
that? I was like, man, he's
that.
looking gassed, and I think right after the second round is when his corner told him, hey, you need to back off. Don't throw everything at him with every punch. And so I thought the third round was going to be
Yep.
more of that second round because I thought Tony won that second round. I mean, it could have gone to him, but Gaethje,
Yep.
whatever adjustments he made, he needed to make, he made them, and
He made him.
God,
Yep.
Tony did not, and he was getting caught with everything. That left from Gaethje was vicious. That left hook, but the thing is, that right was also fucking disgusting. He was hitting him left, right, killing that lead leg. Tony could barely stand up.
Yep.
He didn't look like he belonged. I think I said that last night. I was like, Tony doesn't look like he's in the same league as Gaethje tonight. Not even close. Um, yeah.
I don't. I don't think many. I don't think many people at 155 have that kind of stand up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you think about the two people who defeated Gaethje have better stand up than Tony. Like Tony has overwhelming crazy stand up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's without question. But like as far as like the boxing and just being fans, right? Like we don't know just like by the eye test, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Like Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier have better boxing
Yeah.
than Tony Ferguson. You know what I mean? Tony Ferguson is like an overwhelming tsunami of madness,
Yep.
right? Like they're like you put Eddie out, they're a little bit more controlled, a little bit more technique, and that made the difference in those losses to that Gaethje had. You put that against Tony, it's a totally different beast. So it's like it's almost like preparing. he prepared for a totally different monster in Khabib, and then just goes, all right, fuck it, I'll take this fight. You know what I mean? And we talked about like it's a stupid fight to take. Like this, Gaethje isn't this person that you just like, oh, okay, this just is another tough guy. No, man. Like if you've really seen Gaethje, he leg kicks you, overwhelms you with punches,
Mm-hmm.
and fine. I mean, he broke Michael Johnson. We broke Michael Johnson so bad that Michael Johnson went to a different weight class. You know what I mean? Like he's Edson Barbosa, he destroyed James Vick. He's knocked out everybody he's fought except two when he got knocked out. Whatever.
Right.
But now we don't get Tony versus Khabib, and now I don't know how you don't give. Like we talked. I don't want to see Conor Khabib. Right? I'm sure that makes all the money, especially to be like in November when we're coming out of like the whole stay at home orders, and you know what I mean. Will people be able to go to the arenas and all that other shit? Who knows? Because who knows how long this like no sports, no fans is gonna last, whatever. You know what I mean? So it might be coming off that, so you want to make that the bigger thing. But dude, Gaethje's performance last night was incredible, man. Like I didn't like I we knew about Gaethje because we talk about him and we watch. But what he did last night was world class.
Yeah.
Like it was that like and Tony. That's the other thing. Tony's world class, but he just looked like out of this world. Like everything, he just whenever he wanted to hit Tony Ferguson, he hit him. Whenever, like there was no delay, there was no defense. Tony couldn't block anything.
No.
He would jab him, hook him, everything he wanted, head kick him, everything he wanted to do, he did. Everything he wanted to do. And again, Tony had a 12-fight win streak against monsters. It wasn't like he fought a bunch of nobodies and
Right.
just stacked up his record. How they do in boxing. So, dude, it was incredible. And that's the other thing. Gaethje's like an awesome guy. Like he's a social worker. He wants to help at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna do that when he retires. If he has a brain left, because brain trauma is a real thing.
And the way he fights, he likes to just trade. So yeah, it's a real thing
Yeah.
that he could suffer from it.
But that's not gonna happen against Khabib. Like until that fight is booked, I don't even want to talk about it because I can see Dana fucking it and then giving it to Conor. Even though I'd much rather have Masvidal versus Conor. But I just think that's a more entertaining fight
That would be
because they're just
entertaining.
gonna stand and bang.
Yep.
But I got Masvidal in that fight because I think he's a bigger fighter. So just want
Yeah, I did
to
too.
throw that
But
in there.
Tony, I don't. Tony never tried to go to the ground. I mean, maybe because he couldn't
Nothing.
close the distance, but you never saw any of those like overwhelming rushes where he tries to overwhelm me with punches and then try to get you to the ground. He didn't do any of that, and maybe it's because he felt the power in that first round. He felt it early, but again, the second
Mm-hmm.
round he looked comfortable. He looked like he was settling in, and Gaethje was starting to gas, and he never tried to go to the ground, not once. I thought that was strange. And at the end of the fight, because Tony wasn't all there, right? He got hit where the referee had to step in and stop the fight because Tony was shaking his head, like trying to shake the cobwebs out or some shit, and like he didn't look right.
Yeah,
Stopped the fight
twice.
twice. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He stopped the fight.
yeah.
Get I think he cussed out Gaethje when Gaethje went to tell him good fight or whatever. Eventually, Gaethje went back and Tony was more calm and they hugged it out. And then when he got interviewed, that's one of the things he mentioned to Rogan, right? He prepared for Khabib, who's not a striker. He's a grappler, and that's what he prepared for. So I get that he wasn't prepared for Gaethje and he didn't have to take that fight. But if you're preparing for a grappler, why aren't you trying to take someone down if that's what you're preparing to be on the ground? And not once it didn't seem like he tried to make that effort. I mean, if you're gonna be taking punches, all credit to Tony. Anybody else would have been knocked out early in that
Way
fight.
earlier.
I don't know how Tony
Way,
was
way,
standing
way
up. He was eating some nasty punches that put people to sleep immediately. So I mean, he's
Yeah,
got a
dude,
chin
it
made out
was
of fucking steel.
what's irresponsible about not about Tony saying it in the press. What's irresponsible from his trainers and his managers is knowing that he was preparing for a grappling fight for since November that he
Mm-hmm.
said, and the fight happens in May, so it's what 6 months.
Yep.
Like you're preparing for that, and then for them to take you're preparing for the hardest fight of your career, right? Khabib, regardless of how you is the hardest fight of anybody's career, and I think just because of how his overwhelming grappling and how he pressures you and how he constricts your body and all that shit,
Yep.
given 100%. But what happens is that if you're training for somebody for 6 months, you can't then go, hey, you're gonna fight somebody totally different in 3 weeks. Make it happen. And then just say, yeah, that's when you have as a manager and as a trainer, be like, you know what, this isn't a good idea. But again, like it's different for us to talk about it because that's how they make their money,
Exactly.
right? Promotion and the fights. So they got bills coming in. Tony has Tony has kids. Tony has a wife. Tony has a mortgage. So they got to figure it out.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
So I get it. It's not that simple. Like it's simple for us to talk about it and say it, but it's very different than him. Like, but now back to the drawing board. I'm sure he'll come back at before the end of the year and try to find somebody else. But now Khabib and Tony's never gonna happen because Khabib has, at the most, Khabib has two more fights, right? Like if he does a unification bout with this one,
Mm-hmm.
and then if Conor wins against Masvidal, it's Conor and Khabib. Like that's it. Like he's even said it. Like he's got 2 or 3 more fights. Like he doesn't have anything because he's fought everybody else. He doesn't have anything else to prove either.
Yeah.
So then what do you do? Like when he's done, he's done.
Yeah. I mean, we knew this. It was a dangerous fight for him to take. Um, it was just I'm still kind of, even if you didn't prepare for that type of fighter. I mean, you know what kind of fighter he is, and he didn't look like
Yep.
like he was in the same league, and he didn't look like he made adjustments, and he didn't look like he tried to go to his strength and go to the ground. It just he did. He does what Tony does, right? He's like, I'm a crazy, but he got punched in the face hard. A punch that would lay people out, and
Hard.
he just smiles and looks at him like, give me some more. And that's who he is.
Yep.
That's what he does.
Smart.
And
Yep.
yeah, and instead of making adjustments and being smart about it, he's like he just wanted to show that he's just as tough as anyone else. And I don't know. It's I don't think he's done. Obviously, I think Tony is gonna continue to
No,
fight.
definitely not.
Um, he looked and
But
he
he's also
sounded.
old.
Yeah, he is. He's what 30. He is like 35, I think. Maybe 36.
No, I think he's like closer to 37. I think
Is it?
closer to 37.
Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he's right there.
Yeah.
He's at the end of that window where he could be, a champ or at his in his prime, right? Maybe
Mhm.
he's got his window's a little bit longer because of the way he trains and all this other crazy shit that he does and how he takes care of himself. Um,
Yep.
but it's gonna close on him pretty soon. So it's kind of discouraging that we might not get to see that Khabib fight. But it is what it is. I wanted to see him fight Gaethje. It's like it's you
Yep.
take the good with the bad. I wanted to see him fight Gaethje. I just didn't think that he was going to be so thoroughly dominated as he was last night. That was completely one sided.
Didn't see it coming at all. Dude, we talked about it at the end of the second round. We thought Gaethje was gassed.
Yeah.
Where I got, here comes Tony, and it was the complete opposite. No, here came Gaethje, bro.
Yeah.
When we thought he was winded, that fight changed right there. Like he fucking found whatever gas tank he needed, fueled up, and just crushed him, man. Like that stoppage, even though he was standing, that stoppage was perfect because that was a combination of damage that he took for 20 minutes. Because it was the fifth round, right, or the fourth round? Fifth
No,
round.
it was the fifth round, I think.
That was fifth. Yeah, that was like that entire that was 22, 23 minutes of getting punched in the face, getting his leg kicked, getting head kicked. It was a good stoppage. That was, I would say, I saw the stoppage of the Dominic Cruz, pulled it up on you. Like I thought that was a worse stoppage than the stoppage. You know what I mean? Like I still think there were good stoppages.
Yeah.
Like I'm not debating the stoppage, but the Tony fight was a better, more understandable, respectable stoppage than the Dominic Cruz one.
No, without question. When you see
And
his legs go out and he does some crazy shit with his legs and he shakes his head like, and then he has to shake it again because he's not really all there. Like you have to protect the fighter at that time, because he had been taking monster shots for the first 4 rounds, and
Mhm.
they stopped the fight at the 3:39 mark, so there was a minute 21 seconds left. So he had been eating these shots for almost 25
Yep.
minutes. And when you see him do that as a referee, you're like, yeah, that's enough. Like you don't. There's no point in going another minute. You're not. He wasn't doing anything to put Gaethje in danger either. He wasn't really returning anything, and so at that point,
Yep.
you're not really. You're just kind of hanging on. Stop the fight. It was a good stoppage.
Yeah, it
So
was a good stoppage. I think we covered it, right? I think that's good for 249.
I think so,
Dude,
man.
there's a fight on Wednesday. There's a fight on
And
Wednesday,
another one
bro.
on
How
Friday.
weird is that? Yeah, I know. It's so crazy. Where are they fighting? I'm assuming here in Florida because there's nowhere else that's really open for sporting events. So are they all doing it in the same place? Like I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I don't know. DeSantis' backyard. I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably. That's weird, bro. It's weird. We're
So
talking about that NBA shit too. You
yeah,
said that they would need what 100. You would need 150,000 tests
no, I
to
think
get
fifteen
to
thousand tests.
league. Oh, okay, 15,000.
Yeah,
That's insane. I don't know how that. I don't know how sports like that comes up because this is different. It's four people per fighter. You know what I mean? It's a fighter plus three. It's way easier to control.
right.
And even then, you still had when you talk about it, you still had Jacare Souza showing up with COVID-19.
Yep.
So
Jacare tested
there was
positive.
also that. Yeah, I wonder how many people. I wonder if they're gonna do tests. If they're gonna do tests after the fights too, to see how many people came up and how many people are gonna be getting tested within the next couple of days. You know what I mean? If did Jacare's family have it, or were his family? I just got a question like, were his family getting tested as well? Like, was his family around other people's family? Because
Mm-hmm.
you had Fabricio Verdun and him that are friends.
Yep.
It's just it's weird. It's still listen. I get it's good to have sports back or whatever, but it's still irresponsible to do it in the way you know what I mean. Even though they did all the tests, it's still irresponsible because you're almost being ignorant to the contagiousness of it, and you don't know people's underlying conditions and shit like that. So
Yeah, I agree for sure.
I think that leads us perfectly into the Florida Grim Reaper, right?
Yeah, how about I just play the video of this Florida Grim Reaper? I'll
Just
just play.
fucking
I'll play the audio. Let's. I have it pulled up
all
here
right. Let's do it. Do you?
because I'm not sure what's going on.
First of all, we can just safely say that this is like an old white dude, right? Because
Yeah,
I don't see any like Jesuses or Nazaritos fucking doing dressing up in all black in the
yeah.
summer, right?
No, I don't think so. Let's see what these folks are doing. Let's see what they're all about. For sure, it's not a Jesus.
No, it's definitely not a Jesus. Is
Tourism season,
that right?
Walton County beaches are back open.
We went boogie boarding and swimming.
After weeks of being shut in at home, hundreds of people from near and far flocking to Walton County beaches to feel the sand in their toes and the salt water on their skin.
I love the beaches being open. I've been in self-isolation for 2 months. This is just wonderful.
But one local lawyer says not so fast.
We are dealing with a deadly virus. I think it's
Look at
too
this dude.
soon to draw
Look at this dude.
thousands of millions of people to our beaches.
Daniel Olfelder is an outspoken Florida Beaches for All advocate. But he says when it comes to the coronavirus,
This
the
dude-
beaches should remain closed.
But the message is
That's terrifying,
I love
dude.
our beaches. I know how important it is to come to our beaches, and that it's such a draw to our community that people will come from all over. And I want us to be able to get back to using our beaches permanently as soon as possible. And if we do this too quickly, we won't get there.
While he was walking all the beaches today, visitors were unfazed as they tried to maintain social distancing while enjoying the Gulf.
We're down here from Alabama and couldn't be happier that they opened today.
Walton County commissioners say it's important that people continue to social distance so they don't have to go back and close the beaches again.
This dude. Look, you know what I respect about him?
All right.
I respect that. He's kind of wearing a face mask, right? Like he's got the cover, so he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's being smart. Now, let me ask you something. Like Grim Reaper aside, do you think the beaches should have been closed to begin with? Like, aren't because if you're outdoors, is it worse? Like, because there's so much stuff I don't quite understand about it in that sense. Like, I get like shutting them down. I understand that, but like just the how do I say this? Like closing them completely, or like it becomes a big thing. But also don't flood the beaches with people, right?
Right.
Like monitor it where it's not like you're not break here.
No.
It would be like, oh, okay, if you guys are like 30, 40 feet apart, because I'd never said that. I've gone to the beach my entire life. You know what I mean? Growing up in Florida and South Florida, but I never like sat my towel right next to somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I always try to find a spot. I like when I go to the beach, I'm trying to social distance before this whole social distancing thing,
Yeah.
COVID-19. I'm trying to, hey, I want my space. Let me lay my towel down on my cooler, and
Mhm.
there's alcohol that's in a container trying to because you're not supposed to have alcohol, so in this is not container that's not very conspicuous. Because yeah, I'm drinking a Sprite or whatever the hell I'm trying to make you think I'm drinking. So
Exactly.
the parks here weren't closed, and I think that's one of the reasons that they didn't close them because people are gonna be stuck in the house. They can't go to restaurants. They can't go to confined areas. But you can always go to a park and easily maintain social distance because there are no walls. There's nothing. You just walk around people. So I thought the beaches should have stayed open. Now, having said that, Florida is like Tony Ferguson. It's a different animal altogether. It's like a different country, a
Yep.
different dimension, and you got some special
Yeah.
folks over there. Um,
No, we do. We do. We do.
yeah, yeah. I used to be proud to say I
That's
was
true.
from Florida and Miami, and then as I got older, I realized, oh no, we are the fucking joke of this country. Us in New Jersey, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
For some reason, that's so
yeah,
weird. Need to do a better job at marketing.
we need to get Trump's
Florida man is
campaign
bigger than
manager, get that marketing going.
yeah, exactly. Get that marketing game right. But it like yeah, like I don't think the trail like the parks are now open here in Florida. Barbershops are
Hmm.
now open. Tattoo shops are back. We're basically back to open.
Hmm.
Like I already scheduled my haircut for next week because I need one. I mean, I was gonna wait it out. I could have
Hmm.
done it yesterday. Was like, I'm not gonna be doing it. I'm not gonna be the fucking outbreak monkey and be the first. You know what I mean? Be the first guy in the shop. Like I'm not doing that. I'm gonna wait and just do it early next week and fucking be done with it. You know what I mean? Because even then, there's still rules. Like you can't only barbers clients are in the chair. You can't be sitting inside of the barbershop. You
Right.
gotta sit outside in your cars. Like there's still you still take precautions with it, of course. And I'm wearing my mask because my mask goes behind my ear.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like my so I'm good, and my barber's gonna be wearing a mask. We talked. You know what I mean? Me and him are friends, so I'm good with that. But like it's also weird because I live in a house where my wife is immunocompromised.
Hmm.
So like I'm thinking about it also through like I have an incredibly strong immune system. My wife doesn't. So it's very different for me, like where I could be the carrier of whatever, but then it could affect her differently. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I gotta be mindful of that. Like
of
that's the
course.
thing that like people aren't taking into account is you might be fine. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, right? You might be totally fine, bro. Like but it's not about you, you selfish fucks. It's about the person next to you. It's about your grandparent. It's about your mom. It's about, you know what I mean, your wife, your husband, your kids. It's why Roman Reigns from WWE isn't wrestling anymore. Like because he's a 2 time survivor of leukemia,
Hmm.
and they're even you know what I mean. Like it's about the people around you, man. That's what you got to be more mindful of. Like it's just I get listen, dude. I get going stir crazy. I've spent more money during quarantine with this fucking bike and the bike truck pad that I'm getting on Wednesday and the bike, you know what I mean? Like I
Stop
spent more
talking
money
about
on all
bikes,
this
man.
shit than I
I don't want
ever
to talk about
spent.
bikes anymore.
Oh yeah, because you can't get one. We're going to that next, by the way, and then we'll end it with the Georgia shit. You know what I mean? Like I spent more money doing all this shit, and you spent more money too, but completely, completely different spend.
Yeah.
Completely different spend. You know what I mean? Like so, it's my hobby's taking my money. Your thought of a hobby took your money. So you want to just jump into your dream killers?
Oh man. So
The
first of
depression
all,
on your face is classic.
first of all, I want to say that I love my kids and my dogs so much,
Right, right.
so much,
Did you put the font up there so everybody knows that you're talking about your dream killers?
so much.
You put it up.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of love I have for them is just I can't even put it into words. Um, God, I'm just overwhelmed right now with emotion. I can't even speak. That's how much I love my kids and my dogs. Whew.
All right, tell the
Let me get
people
my
about your dream killers, bro.
so these dream killers of mine that I love so much. We've been talking about mountain bikes for like
Yep.
5 episodes in a row. I don't I lose track. And I mean we like an hour at a time. They take up a big chunks of the episodes. And
And that's not counting the 20 hours we spend
researching
sending each other
and
fucking
yeah, all that shit.
videos. Check out this bike, check out that bike, check out this. Yeah, component. Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, it is. It's retarded. What's more retarded is that it's
Yeah,
looking like I'm not going to be able to get one of those bikes after all that talk and research and everything else and all the hyping up we've done on this show. So Dream
Yeah.
Killers. Dream Killers Part 1, if you didn't watch the show, uh was my dog, the little white Maltese, having to get his like 6 teeth extracted. That was about $1,100. So I went from looking for a $1,500 bike to what looks like a $200 Walmart bike now. Um,
Yep.
and my oldest son, he's gonna go. I'm taking him to surgery tomorrow to the doctor, and he's going to have a wisdom tooth removed, but possibly up to four, depending on what the X-rays show. So it could potentially be up to like 700 plus, like 700 and some change. Um,
Yeesh.
yeah, and I'm just I every time I have to spend this money, I look at the tabs open on my other computer, his laptop, and I just look at that bike, and I just think of like that Habib and Tony Ferguson fight of what could have been. Like that's all it is now. What might have been. Uh, it was gonna be a great ride. It was gonna be enjoyed by all, and now it's just a what if. And so, so that was part one. Yeah, I mean, so I'm taking him tomorrow, but it turns out that my other dog um, broke his damn tooth over the last 3 or 4 days. Like not been wanting to eat, and we gave him a treat, and he dropped that thing immediately. So we didn't know what was going on, and we looked at his teeth, and one was on the top right was really loose. And I mean, we brush your teeth, we take care of them, we put all the stuff in the water, like try to make sure that they
Right.
have healthy gums and all that stuff. And I took him to the vet today, and she said that he had a broken tooth, and it's like deep in the gums. So I don't know what he did or what he pulled, but whatever. When he goes in the backyard, I guess he tries to. He got a little bit too curious, and he bit into something or tried to pull something and broke his tooth. So he's gonna have surgery in 2 weeks, or a little less than 2 weeks, and that's going to be another like $300 to $400.
Yeah.
So I mean, I appreciate the consistency. Teeth, all of them. My kids, my dogs. I mean, that's a conspiracy for your ass. Like what they all got together and said, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do.
They had a Zoom meeting. Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's complete bullshit. And now I'm looking at that mythical $30 Walmart bike that my oldest son, that Tony was talking about. I still haven't seen one.
Where,
I haven't even seen a $30 bike on
where
Craigslist. So where do you find these?
no.
So
Facebook. It's not on Facebook Marketplace. You can find that on OfferUp.
no,
I mean,
you
they've
can't.
they've got together and crushed your dreams, bro.
They
They
did
really have.
pretty.
It's
Oh my God. I'm sorry. This. So first, Philip says, "What hair?" When you're talking about your haircut.
kind of
And then he
disrespect.
goes, "Dream killers. You mean your gifts from God?" Yeah, exactly. The gifts from God. My beautiful, beautiful
That,
kids and dogs. I love them to death, and they love me.
that's what he. That's what he
Um,
meant, guys. Just
and
stopping him from living his
we
best life.
I shouldn't even mention this, but since Mary didn't want to, since Mary feels like she's being ignored as a 50-year-old woman, and we're not giving her enough attention, uh, yeah, I'm gonna
Happy
say it, but
Mother's Day.
yeah, Happy Mother's Day. I'm gonna say it, Mary, but we're not talking about this. I'm just gonna throw it out there, and
I don't want to
you,
know
you
what you're
can
about
you can have
because I
the
can't.
you can have the you can be content with the fact that I said it on air, but we're not going to discuss that
Uh-oh.
topic. She says we should talk about boob itch.
Nope.
That's not happening.
Nope. Moving on. No,
Moving
there.
on.
We acknowledge you. We recognize you as a human being. You have not been erased in this podcast, but we are not talking about that at all. We are moving on right now.
Yeah, we are.
Um,
That's why you're not
yeah,
calling in.
nope, not at all. So yeah, what else were we talking about? The Grim Reaper? No, we were talking about your dream killers. I mean, Mary knows about dream killers. She's got kids. Philip is one of her kids. That guy's crushed at least 7 of her dreams. At least 7, minimum. As clumsy as that motherfucker was when he got older, I can't imagine when he was a kid. Jesus, he must have had broken bones all the time. So let's just move on from that.
Yeah,
I
let's
just
do
fucked up
that.
my. Yeah. What's next? What else we got? We got two more.
I think the last thing we had on, we pretty much hit everything that we were gonna
Georgia,
talk
is
about.
Georgia left?
Yeah, I think the last one is that we're gonna end on not such a happy note, talking about strong marriages
We'll
and
have to
dream
like
killers.
we'll have to find. Yeah, we'll have to, and we'll have to at some point towards the end try to find something funny about something to not end it with such a terrible story. Um, you want to tell the people, man? Because like I can't even talk about it at first because I'll just go off on a rant immediately. So I'd rather you like explain what happened, and then I could bounce off of
No,
that.
no, this
That's all
is
right with
all
you.
you, brother. You got this. If you want to go on a rant and get
All
it all out, you know,
right. Let me stretch for this one.
the stage is yours.
All right. All right. So, here's what I was worried about last week. Right. Last week was it's not even not even just crooked cops. It's the entire system in Glenn County. So, Glenn County, Georgia, was where Ahmaud Arbery was gunned down and murdered because he allegedly fit the description of somebody who was stealing it, who was breaking into houses, yada yada yada. Again, there's no justification for his murder. All you're trying to do is, and we talked about it, right? Like I'm just when it happened, I was like, yo, I'm gonna just wait till they start smearing him like he's the bad guy, like he did something wrong, like what they did with Mia Rice, what they did with Trayvon Martin, what they've done almost every situation when the victim has been black or Hispanic or a minority. They didn't do that for Dylan Roof, the guy who killed all the people. He got Burger King after he murdered 9 people in a church.
Yeah.
They said that the shot up Parkland was, he was such a nice kid, yada yada yada. It always happens. It's a script, right? If it's a minority, find the picture where they look threatening. Trayvon Martin with his hoodie up and taking a picture with a gun, or Philando Castillo with braids and like, you know what I mean, goatee or whatever it was. Oh, and it's a black person. Make it justifiable. Mike Brown in Ferguson.
Yeah.
Oh, he knocked over some shit walking out of a store. He might have stolen some black and miles or whatever the fuck. Again, none of these things that I'm telling you warrant somebody being murdered. Regardless, now they're doing it already with Ahmaud Arbery, right? Let me jump back with that shit. So they say that he was breaking. So the McMichael's a father and son team with a third person. Follow him, hunt him down because they go back to their houses, hunt him down. They didn't call from what I understand, they didn't call the police. They didn't do any of that. So we don't get the video for 3 months. It happens back in February 23rd. Almost 3 months, right? Yeah, almost 3 months. 2 weeks away from a month. For 3 months. They find the video because some radio station personality gets the video and puts it out there. It goes viral. All right, cool. 2 days later, they have video. They magically have video of him allegedly walking into a construction site of a home and looking like he's breaking in because it was the home of this person or that person.
Right.
Hold up. So it took a radio station. Like, let's just ask some questions, right? It took a radio station personality to get the video released. The cops weren't going to do it. The cops wanted to arrest. From our reports the cops wanted to arrest the McMichaels. The DA that McMichael worked for stepped in and goes, "Nah, you're not arresting them." So, okay, that's just what we're doing here. Then it took 3 months to get that video. 2 days later, there's a video of him allegedly, because I'm not taking that lady's fucking word for it, saying that Candace Owens, it confirmed who it is. Nah, I'm not rocking with her. Candace Owens is the Uncle Ruckus for Fox News. All she does is constantly blame black people for everything that happens to them. Oh, she uses the stupid ass stat that black people kill each other 90% of the time. Yeah, bitch. Also, white people kill each other 88% of the time. That fact is never brought up. Why? Because communities kill each other. Criminals are criminals, period. Right. It's not like fucking 3 are out there gang banging. You fucking whatever. I'm trying to stay on top. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay on task. And so they're already doing that. And I got people on my Facebook channel. I don't understand like how. And again, it's not even because obviously Hispanics commit crimes, white people commit crimes, black people commit crimes, Asian every race of everything commits crimes. That's without question. But if you're sharing it when you just got the video of this person being murdered, right? Being
Right.
hunted down, and for her to say, "Oh, joggers don't run in khaki shorts," bitch. What if he doesn't have basketball shorts? A jogger can run in anything. I've run in jeans before, bitch.
Yep.
Anybody can run in anything. Like, oh, he's an avid jogger. Like, what are you? None of what breaking into a house doesn't warrant you being murdered unless the homeowner is there and they're protecting themselves and feel threatened. I jump 100% justify that. I'm not even debating that one.
No, so
Nowhere
before
near a threat.
you get too carried away, right? There's a USA Today article from an hour ago. Additional video shows Georgia jogger Ahmaud Arbery did nothing illegal, attorneys say. So I'm gonna read the first couple paragraphs because they're, like you said, they're already smearing him. They're already saying they saw him breaking into houses and doing this and you know. So let's read a couple things to kind of give some perspective and context about those other break-ins we're talking about. So it says surveillance video recorded minutes before the slaying of the jogger that has sent ripples of shock across the nation proves the Georgia man was not involved in a crime. Attorneys for Ahmaud Arbery's family say an individual believed to be Arbery was seen at a property under construction for less than 3 minutes and did nothing illegal before being ambushed a short while later. Lawyers said in a statement Saturday night. The surveillance video was consistent with the evidence already known to us that Arbery made a brief stop at the site while out for a run and engaged in no illegal activity. Ahmaud did not take anything
Hold
from the
on, John.
construction site. Go ahead.
Say that. Say that again. I want you to say that again.
The
That part
surveillance
where
video.
the police.
Yeah, they already knew. These are his attorneys, but again, this is what was already known. This parts facts of the case. So the surveillance video was consistent with the evidence already known to us that Arbery made a brief stop at the site while out for a run and engaged in no illegal activity. And then I'll read the last paragraph, and we don't have to read the whole thing. Ahmaud did not take anything from the construction site. He did not cause any damage to the property. He remained for a brief period of time and was not instructed by anyone to leave, but rather left on his own accord to continue his jog. Ahmaud's actions at the empty house under construction were in no way a felony under Georgia law. And it's a USA Today article. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and find it and read it. But yeah,
We'll throw that link up on our Facebook page. It's like, it's weird, right? Like, and it just you put that situation. If you make Ahmaud anything other than what he is, you make Ahmaud Ashley, you make Ahmaud Andrew, you make, you know what I mean,
outrage.
whatever. It's outrage, and you make the McMichaels two black men. There's no question if they're gonna get arrested. There's no question that they're gonna, you know what I mean. There's no question if there's gonna be charges. This shit wouldn't even make the news. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't. It would, like, oh, okay, two black men killed a white man, white woman, and that was the fact that the DA stepped in. Like, here's what I don't understand, because I'm not. This is in this case, I'm not even shitting on the cops because they took directive from their boss, which is the DA. This is a rare instance where it's actually not the police on site's fault. They were told by their supervisors and their superiors, no, you're not doing that. So this is all on the DA.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand how what your former job used to be can protect you in the future. Like, I don't understand that. Like, because that happens in no other career, right? Like, if you're a doctor and you retire, you can't then administer anesthesia or even treat patients, right?
Not
If you're a nurse, you can't. You don't have, you know what I mean? You don't have a license. If you retire, like, I don't know, like, maybe I'm thinking something, like, I'm assuming you can't just keep doing that shit that you used to do.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, that's just that you're retired, you're done. From my understanding, right? And you could correct me if I'm wrong, John, because a lot of this stuff, like, I've looked it over, but like, I haven't done the deep dive in it because I'm trying to, like, keep a positive mindset and, like, just keep, you know what I mean, and not go back into, like, the ranting Ben that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a couple outbursts, but even that wasn't political because it was just like, yo, this is clearly wrong. Like, from what I understand, they saw him, went back to their houses, grabbed their gun, and then pursued him, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
from what I read.
what I've understood. right? So that's what you read. That's what I understood because we've talked about this even before this. Because even before this, like the whole thing that went viral on Facebook was that whole pandemic thing where like the conspiracy theory that this was all Anthony Fauci's making because of a
Mm-hmm.
former secretary, whatever, all that whole thing. And then like literally the next day was this Ahmaud Arbery thing, dude. Like when it first happened, like I thought it had just happened. Like I was like, oh okay, of course another black person gets killed by white people. Cool, all right, that's every day in the South.
I
Let's
thought
just
so
move
too.
on. It sounds casual and it sounds crass, and I'm sorry, but that's just what it is. Like it's like, and I don't know. Here's the thing: when I say right now, I don't expect them to get convicted because the DA is going to put their thumb on the scale and be like, "Yo, I know this person," and they'll find a way because they're already attacking the victim. Like, I don't see the news talking about how what Facebook groups they belong to. You know what I mean? Finding video of the McMichaels. I don't see them talking about the actual murderers in this case in the same way. Like I don't see any articles from USA Today going balls deep into the McMichaels history or anything like that. I'm not seeing any of that. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing that being shared on Facebook. I'm not seeing no left, even no, I'm not seeing a left wing person, you know what I mean, outing them like in the way Candace Owens is trying to protect her money and her investment and into white people's ignorance, into her own ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not seeing that aspect of it. So you want to say that the media's trying to conspire a race war? No, dude, it's not a race war. And if it is, one side's clearly getting away with war crimes 100% of the fucking time. What are we talking about? It's not even debatable, right? And they get away with it just like George Bush got whatever. They get away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with, and then it's just like you shouldn't have made me do that. Hey, bitch, I'm not in a domestic violence relationship. You're not just gonna tell me you shouldn't have made me do it. You're not gonna punch me in the face and I gotta be just okay with it. Nah, man, I'm not rocking with that. Fuck out of here.
But that
Go ahead.
DA you talk about,
I got more to say.
and how they might not even be charged. I mean,
Yeah.
she's got a history, right,
Yes.
of stepping
Yes, she
in.
does.
Yeah, you want to talk
So
about that?
if you don't know this DA, yeah, this DA, I think her name is Jackie Johnson, right? I'm putting her. I don't give a fuck. I'm pretty sure her name is Jackie Johnson. There was 2 years ago, there was a cop that murdered his wife and her friend, but I'm not gonna say their names because I mean, victims don't deserve that kind of shit. With multiple times, this police officer, a former police officer, I think he was like a lieutenant, showing aggression,
It was.
aggravated stalking. I was actually in a restaurant pointing an air like there made his hand into the former gun, saying he's gonna kill them. All charges there were never any charges filed. If they were, he was allowed to be bonded out because he was a former police officer. He worked, you know what I mean? He worked for them. Again, like are and these are the situations that frustrate me where like the blue wall and that blue shit comes in because these are the people that are making your jobs harder and make people not trust you. And then you defend them and then you give them loopholes, you give them caveats, you give them excuses. Like this guy had another issue with another, I guess it was like some a lady by the name of Carolyn or Coraline Small,
Mm-hmm.
who was killed. It was him and his partner, same guy that killed his wife, is in jail for life now. Same like it was. They were in a slow. This real shit. What the article said. They were in a slow speed chase
Yeah,
with Caroline Small. I guess
I
like
read
she
that.
left the car and drive, and they shot her and killed her. Like she didn't have a gun. Like it was like a slow speed. So like they literally they ran up to the car and like shot her and killed her. Right? Like again, these are all like little bits and pieces because
Mm-hmm.
the police is investigating themselves. We're not getting the full story,
Right.
so you kind of have to put pieces in together because when you're investigating yourself, you're obviously gonna make shit look. And even then, they could have made stuff look good for them. So he kills his wife. Whatever. Shows multiple times of stalking before that. Shows every sign that he's mentally unstable, all fucked up in the head. Multiple abuse allegations. They and he ends up killing his wife. That's directly on Jackie Johnson because she literally was the one to go, no, we're not going to charge him. We're going to bond him out. 2 days later, I think May 17th, he was bonded. May 19th, he killed her. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that
Like, and then, go ahead.
no, that
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
he after that slow speed chase incident, uh, he after that got promoted to lieutenant. So he stayed on the force,
Yep.
got promoted. When he went to that restaurant, I think it was a pizza joint. There was already a restraining order because he was going through a divorce, and
Yep.
there was a restraining order that he wasn't supposed to be around there. So he shows up to the restaurant, makes an order, sits for like 20 minutes, and he made the gun sign with his fingers. But what I
and
was
said, "I'm
reading,
gonna kill
what
you."
yeah, but what I read also was that because he's connected and has buddies on the force still, he
Of course.
calls them to kind of corroborate his side of the story that I ordered and I she was there and then I waved or said hi to someone in the restaurant. Even though that there were
Yep.
witnesses, at least three witnesses to include the his ex-wife's former wife's boyfriend, who said no, he made the gun sign and he said he was threatening them. And the dude just nonchalantly, the same day that he murdered them, he went to the store, bought a shotgun, walked up to their place, and I think he rushed the boyfriend and killed him, and then he
Hmm.
went to the room where his wife was, and I believe it was just one shot. With one shot, I mean it's a shotgun. Um, he
Yeah.
killed her as well, and then he called his sister and said it's done.
Yep.
I killed him. That's the kind of person that this DA was defending,
It was protect.
and
Yeah.
and the same thing is happening
Like,
with the McMichaels now, with Ahmaud Arbery.
because let's be realistic, right? Like this DA knows the DA that's gonna investigate it. They law enforcement and all that shit rarely like to look silly and look stupid and look embarrassed. That's why that bitch of a lady from When They See Us, the
Hmm.
one that the Central Park Five, when even
Yeah.
now she still like she sued Ava DuVernay because of the document because of the show. She lost immediately, got thrown out. But
Well, I think I lost you. Okay. All right. All right. Bear with us for just a second. We are having some technical difficulties, so we'll be back in a minute. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the
Yep.
technical difficulties. Probably because Benjamin was going on a rant, and the internet decided not today.
My FBI agent was like, you know what, Ben, that's enough. That's enough out of you. But yeah, man. So and then another situation with that Glen County shit, they had 2 police chiefs and 2 like sergeants turn themselves in for dealing drugs. Again, this is not the Glen. This is actually one of those instances where the cops on duty wanted to do the right thing,
Right.
right? Like this isn't an indictment because it goes back to not all cops are bad. Just there's bad cops. Um, they they want to do the right thing. The DA said no. I don't understand. Like, what story did that DA? I need to see a press conference where that DA gets asked. Like, what story did McMichael tell you to justify him not being arrested? Like, what was his story? Was it he looked like a suspect who was breaking in? Was it, you know what I mean? What, because they've changed their story multiple times from everything we've read, right? First, it was like, oh, he was suspicious. It was this person. It was that. Like, what if any of those reasons was justifiable enough for Ahmaud Arbery to not go home that day and be murdered, right? Like, other than him being black, like what reason did they have for following him?
No, I mean they don't. We talked about this offline. I don't think we mentioned it on the show. This is the first time we talk about it. But you see someone walking down the street, or maybe that someone supposedly looks like someone that broke into a construction site or a house, and so you then decide to arm yourselves, get a third person to record you,
Mm-hmm.
and then follow this guy.
Yep,
And then you
that sounds
mean
premeditated.
right? You follow this guy, and then you get out of the car, and then you approach him, and he's not doing anything to you. You're not a goddamn cop. What are
No,
you making a citizen's arrest?
nope,
And then yeah, that's
can't do
that's
that either.
premeditated. You go in there and arm yourself, and you hunt this guy down. That's I don't care how they want to paint it, how they want to portray the story, but that's what happened. Not only that, like you said, I thought this just happened recently. It's happened 3 months ago, so we wouldn't
Yep,
know. We wouldn't know unless
no,
that radio personality released the video, and we're talking about it now. Otherwise, this would have just been
yep,
swept under the rug, and no one hears about it.
100%. Like, and the back to the citizens arrest argument. Look, I was a security guard for, I want to say, 5 years. As a citizen, you really and Frank, I mean our boy Frank talked about it. Like, citizens arrest is complete and utter bullshit.
Yep.
Unless you see somebody in a direct threatening situation, you have no right to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless you have, like, you see somebody basically being beaten up and you hold them down, and even then it's a sketchy situation. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, this whole this whole narrative that they had, that they have any, you don't, as a security guard, you can't even hold somebody beyond, like, that wants to go. Like, even if you see them committing a crime, all you do is observe and report. If the McMichael thought this guy was guilty of something, first of all, you should be presumed innocent in this country, right? You shouldn't just be, hey, yo, he's clearly doing something. You call the cops, like, hey, look, there's a suspicious person. Like, look, man, I've done it. Like, my neighbor one day, we came home and they were like shooting a bunch of shit with like cars we didn't recognize. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't then go over there with my gun because I have a gun and find out what was going on. You know what I did? I called the cops. I was like, hey, look, there's a suspicious vehicles over here. We don't quite recognize them. You know what I mean? Never seen them, because again, I have 8 neighbors. I know all the cars in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? And they were like at the back of the property. I was like, I don't know who they are, and we called. Like, that was it. Like, I'm not fucking a super. I'm not gonna go out there because you don't know.
Right.
Like, the thing is, here's my question, right? Let's say Ahmaud Arbery was armed and he killed both of them. What happens? Then what happened? Like, you think he gets the benefit of the doubt? You think that video comes to light? I bet
Right.
you that story becomes a very different situation, right?
Yeah, because he's essentially he's fucked either way. If he wasn't armed,
Yeah.
these guys hunt him down, but they're trying to paint it as, oh well, he was breaking into the house and we went out, and they're not reporting it as he was hunted down. They're reporting it as they're protecting the neighborhood, or he was someone suspicious breaking into people's houses. But like you said, if he was
Yep.
armed, they would spin the narrative the same way to favor these two dudes, right? Because of the DA is who the
Yep.
DA is, and he worked for her before. Now he's retired, but it would be spun the same way.
Yep.
If he shoots them, it's not going to be self defense, because the same scenario plays out. They went after him, but if he had a gun and he shot him and he
Yep.
defended himself, they wouldn't be spinning it that way. It would still be this guy
Nope.
murders father and son in cold blood or whatever. However you want to put these headlines up. Both situations are
The
screwed.
suspected, yeah, the suspected the suspected robber or burglar kills father and son.
Right.
Boom. Look, wrote the headline for you. Done. Like to spin it and this isn't disingenuous too, to spin it as, oh, this is going to be a race war and all this. Just, again, that always becomes the narrative when it's a minority being a victim, right? Like you have the guy Dylan Roof that literally goes, "I'm doing this because it's a race war." That's I cannot for the life of me think of a situation where it's been one of us, right? Me and you, we're both Hispanic,
Mm-hmm.
that thinks, oh, I'm gonna start killing black people because they're taking over,
You are
or I'm gonna
pixelated,
kill
by the way.
Mexicans because they're. Can you hear me? I'll go fuck
I
it.
can hear you fine, but you're
The
frozen.
pixelation
Pixelated.
happened.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's happened. I have terrible internet. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't happen in a situation where we think, well, we got to go kill black people or white people because they're taking our jobs, or Mexican or any, like that doesn't happen, right? Like that in what I've seen so far historically, it's been a white person that gets outraged that they're losing something to another. You know what I mean? Like Dylan Roof with killing the 8 people. That's the race war that you want to talk about. That's fine. But again, like don't use it as a defense and as an argument to say that it's inciting a race war when a guy was just going for a jog, did nothing wrong. The police investigated it, and the only reason these two guys aren't arrested is because their ties to the DA. That's it. That's it. Because the cops on site and on duty thought they did something wrong.
Right.
Your former job. Look, I can talk about this shit for your former job should not affect what you do in the future, and that happened here. Like, there was a former cop, older guy who got into an argument in a movie theater, right? Went to his car, came back and killed the guy sitting in the movie theater. And I think I didn't follow the case to the end, but I think he got off. Like I don't think they charged. Like, he got into an argument. The guy threw popcorn at him because they were on their phone with the babysitter, because they were they went to the movies during the day on the phone with the babysitter. The older guy got upset, went back, and these were like white people. It was like both people were white. Went back to their car, went to his car, came back and shot him in the chest and like right next to his wife, and like threw it. Like it's you know what I mean? Like nothing. Like it took forever for the trial to go through, and I think they ended up like dropping. I don't know what ended up. It's just because it's so many times, dude. It's hard to keep track of all these crimes. But your former job should not dictate. You know what I mean? Like that's so stupid to me, bro. That's so dumb.
Yeah, but
Like,
this goes
John,
deeper
me
than
and you
just
were
his
both in
former
the
job,
military.
right? This goes to like this DA. What other things is she letting go on? Because it's not just
Cover up.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
this is the big one that we heard, but then something else happened before that, right? Like the slow speed chase for this one particular, for the guy that shot his wife. I
His
mean,
wife.
like what else is this DA letting go that we haven't heard of? Just like we wouldn't have heard of this
Yep.
if it hadn't been released by a third party. It's
Yep. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I got a question for you, because I don't want to end it. I don't want to end it on such a heavy topic, right?
yeah.
And I'm not gonna do like a random top 5 because our brains aren't
No.
set in that mode right now. But is public subs the greatest sub of all time?
I will be honest with you and say I haven't had a public sub in I don't even remember what they taste like. I will tell you that the greatest pizza I've had of all time is from this same supermarket that has a Starbucks in it, and they have a little bar and all that
Oh,
stuff.
the one that you always get mad about? The one that you get mad about because of the baristas? You snobby
No,
bastard.
no, no. That's I don't get mad at the baristas at this Starbucks in this supermarket. No, it's at an actual standalone
Okay.
Starbucks that's inside like a bank or this building
Oh, okay,
downtown.
gotcha.
Yeah. Fuck those baristas. Thanks for the reminder. No, the
Yeah, no
pizza
problem.
is amazing, man. Like because they get all the ingredients from the market there. So the pepperoni, the sausage, all that stuff. The cheese, it's fresh. It's delicious. My kids don't understand how apparently what good pizza is because
How good they have it.
my fault.
How good they have it,
It's
yeah.
my fault, right? They've been used to
You failed, bro.
Domino's or Pizza Hut or something, and we've had pizza from other places, but I think that that's what
Right.
they think the epitome of great pizza is: Domino's or Pizza Hut. It's like no, you don't.
That's
They
so
don't
sad.
appreciate when I
No.
tasted that pizza. I lost my fucking mind in that supermarket. I was like, "What is this?" I in Strongsville,
Did you
Ohio.
stare at it? Did you like examine it?
I
Like
was looking at it,
you're
these
like, what
enormous
the
pieces of
fuck
like
is?
sausage and pepperoni and the gooey cheese and I couldn't believe
Yeah,
my eye. Like my taste buds were just, yeah. I don't know about public subs. I'm not a fan of
dude.
subs in general, but that pizza is delicious. Supermarket pizza.
You're good. I'm about to go get one after we're done with this show right here. Dude, the best pizza I had was in best pizza I've ever had was in St. Pete in this little shopping center with like a Publix attached to it.
Uh huh.
We're walking out, and I don't know why we went to this place. We had never been there before. I gotta just check this one out. And we're walking out, and there's like 15, 20 people coming out of this like little hole in the wall. You know what I mean? Like the glass pane windows,
Yeah.
and everybody's coming out with like pizza boxes and chicken wings. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" And we looked at the menu. It was like, it's a pizza place. There's little like literally hole in the wall, dude. Like imagine a Subway. You know how Subways are always like narrow as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like that, right? But they have like a bar in there, and they have like the kitchen in the back. We got a pizza from there, and we got like because my wife doesn't eat pork, right? So I got half pepperoni, half cheese. It is unquestioned. It's like large slices, but it's thin. There's thinner slices,
Mm-hmm.
but large slices. Unquestionably, the best pizza I've ever had in my life. Like without, like I'm thinking about going down this weekend and getting a slice, bro. And mind you, St. Pete now for me lives. It's about an hour and 10 minutes away if they're open because restaurants should be open by now. Because I'm just gonna pick it up and like eat it in the parking lot. Not the whole pizza because I'm just eating a slice. That's absurd. I still have to drive home. I'd probably die and like just drive off the bridge and shit from a food coma.
But is it
But I'm
absurd?
fucking that up,
But
bro.
is it that absurd? I don't know.
It,
Look,
pizza,
the one
pizza
thing
gets pizza's a slippery slope,
that
right?
shit puts you to
Pizza's
sleep.
one of
You're
those.
right. It's
Pizza's
dangerous.
one of those. Yeah. Pizza's one of those foods that like I'm only gonna have two slices. Then before you know it, you kept eating because it's so good.
And there's only two
It
slices
gets
left in the box.
dangerous.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
look, that's what I
It
miss
does.
about I miss that fucking got me talking about food. I miss that about Korea, and even when we were in Europe for like that trip in the summer. But Korea, one, it was really cheap to eat, and it's not like in the U.S. Like most of the places you go here, yeah, you'll see some mom and pop restaurants, but you see a lot of chains. And when we were in Korea, it was just
Right.
restaurant after restaurant, but they're just own like
Mom and pop.
mom and pop shops, and that was
Yep.
some of the best food I had. Like we didn't go to some chain restaurant. We went to these just mom and pop restaurants, and when you go into the bigger cities too, like Seoul, where it's just so crowded, but the restaurants are everywhere. Like you, and they're probably as narrow as those subways, right? Because there's this
Right.
they build vertically, so you have these restaurants that are right next to each other, and bro, the best food I've ever had. Some of the best food I've ever had is so damn. I miss it. You got me
The best.
talking about shitty subs and public subs. No man, that's some of the best eating we
Lost
probably did. You lost
The
audio. What
best
happened?
meal I ever had. Yeah, I lost audio for a second. The best meal I've ever had on our honeymoon. We went to because mind you, we had been in Europe a couple weeks already.
Hmm.
We had been to Barcelona, to Spain,
Yeah,
and then we went to the Azores, right? He sets of islands off the coast of Portugal.
yeah,
So we go to this restaurant. They hadn't opened yet. They opened at 8. We got there like 7:50. But I thought like their dinner was at 8. You know what I mean? So we get there and they're still like cleaning up and getting the things ready because people don't eat till like 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's very fucking weird.
yeah.
I don't
It's
understand that
normal.
at all in Europe. It's fucking weird. So we're sitting there and then we have like I forgot what we ordered. We have like this black belly fish, right? And it's like a platter, right? Where it comes with like 4 different types of potatoes, like red, white. I think there was like a purple potato. Like it was, just, I don't. It's fucking delicious. This black belly fish, me and my wife, because it's like the size of the table. Not, it's a smaller table though. Like imagine something like it's like this big, right? But it's like this thick, dude. It is unquestionably the best meal I've ever had in my life, and we don't even like seafood like that. Oh my god, it was abs, and it was like a mom and pop. It was delicious, bro. Delicious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I just
well,
didn't want to end it on fucking
no, we were in
depressing
Valencia.
ass
We were in Valencia,
murders.
and we had paella. two types of paella, like the Valenciana,
Yep.
like and that's where paella supposedly originated from in Valencia,
Yep.
and then we had the seafood paella, and I don't eat seafood. Mel loves seafood. I'm not a fan of seafood, but I had it, and I mean, one of them was the non seafood one was with rabbit, I believe, and other meat.
Hmm.
But then the seafood one was surprisingly delicious. It was so good. But
Yep.
you're along the coast, right? That seafood is fresh. You're not
Yep.
having paella in Nebraska in the middle of the cornfields. Plus,
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
everyone else, everywhere else except the U.S., they cook with flavor, not just salt and pepper.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different. Like you have to you try different restaurants, if, or if you leave the U.S., you don't. If you, for your brother, I know he's not just sticking to chain restaurants or shitty defect food.
No, definitely
Uh,
not.
so I'm sure he's out there like trying and experimenting with the food, and then
Well, not right now.
it's awesome. Well,
Japan shut down
but he
basically.
was, I'm sure,
They're not
before he
even
was all
leaving the
shut down.
post. Yeah. Oh, for sure. All right, my brother. I think we go wrap it up there. Talk about food because I'm hungry as fuck now.
Perfect time. I'm about to go eat too.
We talked. Yeah. All right, my brother. Catch you next time. We'll do it Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. Who knows? We'll figure this shit out. I'll holler at you, my man.
All right, man. Hey, before we go, if you guys are still holding on, there's still some. Just make sure that you share this with your friends.
Like,
If you like
yep.
listening
Like,
to
share, and subscribe.
if you like listening to the show, and for whatever reason you like watching this dude's big ass head on your screen, uh,
I'm literally the entire
send
screen, though, ain't I?
send the link.
I'm the
Yeah,
entire screen.
you're the entire screen. Send the link, forward it to your
All right.
friends, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel on the podcasting platforms. Um, make Benjamin's dream come true, because my dreams have been killed by my dogs and my kids. But he wants to blow up. He wants to be the next big YouTuber. He wants to be the next Logan Paul,
You,
but the Panamanian Logan Paul.
no, no, no.
So
Not
maybe
doing
he
that
wants
at
to be
all.
the next
I'm not
PewDiePie.
going to a haunted field in Japan. Nope.
Let's make it happen for him.
Let's go with like Brendan Shaw, Brian Callen, because I'm Brendan Shaw with Brian Callen.
You're right. I
I'm out.
birthed you.